evening. This meeting of the Southfield Board is open. This is a meeting of the Southfield Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda item number 5. Please submit a comment request card if you wish to speak during public comment. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Ms. Rice, can you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am Betty Robertson, President of the Board.
Gerald B. Joyce, Vice President of the Board.
Good evening, I'm Leslie Love Smith, Board Secretary.
Good evening as well, Yolanda Charles. I am Treasurer and Trustee.
Charles Hicks, Trustee.
Talisha Rice, Board Trustee.
Linda Wood, Superintendent.
Vicki Hall, Associate Superintendent of Human Resources.
Kate Dankovich, Associate Superintendent of Administrative Services.
Derek Lopez, Associate Superintendent for Instructional Resources and School Performance.
Okay, we have M1 Studios, Mr. Mike Madigan, Jeff Wolka, Marlita Gamble, Technical Assistant, Paulette Gardner, and Ron Salad. Recorded minutes, Ms. Nicole Christian. Mr. Induluz and Mr. Curtis Orwig from Chartwell's Food Service Companies are here to make a special presentation. Mr. Induluz is the Senior Director, and Mr. Orwig is the District Manager of Chartwell. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Ordell Andalusia.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Mr. Orwig isn't here, but I'm representing us all together. Every year, Chartwells, on an annual basis, since our contract began, have made a donation towards the Southfield School District to whatever you design for it to do, and we are doing that this year once again. We are presenting a check to Southfield School District for the amount of $2,500. You can't take this one to the bank, though. Actually have the one you take.
Thank you so much.
And with me here as well, Madam President, is the PTSA president from Bernie, whom I've worked closely with this year. And I just wanted to kind of have her come and speak regarding collaboration her and I had this year. Miss Young.
Hi, I just want to first say I'm not the president, but that's okay. I try to stay heavily involved in our PTSA. So one of the things that we did this past year is, well, actually this time last year we applied for a grant, and it was for healthy school meals. And we actually got the grant, which I was very excited to receive on behalf of our PTSA at Bernie. And so we put a committee together, and Mr. Induluz was one of our committee members that helped us to work on some action items that we put together for the grant. So the main thing that I want to say real quickly is that a lot of it was around perception of the meals that we provide at the school. So we did a survey in the beginning of the year to understand what that perception was from the students and also from the parents. And then we worked together to work on some action items. And one of our action items that we had was to look at our menus and look at the items that we had on the menu. So we worked closely with Mr. Induluz, and he put a new menu together for us for our lunch. So it worked out wonderful. So we'll be taking some more surveys in the fall just to see how things are going. So just wanted to share. And there is a newsletter that we put together based on the work that we created this year. We also created a mural on the wall, and so it was a really wonderful experience this year with the grant and worked with Mr. Induluz.
Awesome.
So thank you. What we did, thank you. What we did at Bernie was that Mrs. Young had brought me into the loop of a survey that they had done with parents and students. So what we did was we created a menu. And it's a challenge each particular year because every particular year there's new challenges that come up from the USDA guidelines. And so when the new guidelines come up, we have to make adjustments. We have to take certain things away and things just change. And sometimes it's a popular hit, sometimes it's not, and so what we did was that I collaborated with the PTSA of Bernie to make sure that we design a menu that was specifically and absolutely something that the parents got involved in. They picked the items, so did the students, if I'm not mistaken. The students, and then we actually implemented it, and that was published in our website as well. And I want to thank Southfield for this opportunity and for letting me be a part of the district and continuing to support our program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Madam President,
Let's take a picture.
Yes,
I was gonna say, can I add one?
sure.
The students who painted the art mural were from the high school, right?
Yes, that's, excuse me.
University High School.
They actually, we got students to come in and paint that.
Great,
Okay.
very good.
We'd like to take a picture
Oh, sure,
with the check.
sure.
Okay, the facsimile.
With the check.
Okay. Board President.
Okay.
She is.
All the work you done did.
Okay, we now have representatives from Champion Services are here to share information. Ms. Cassie Nichols, Senior Area Manager, Ms. Karen Henson, Regional Manager, and Ms. Catherine Brozell, Associate Area Manager. To come to the podium, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa. I'm an area manager for Champions. First, I want to start by saying thank you for having us here today. We appreciate the opportunity to share some of the changes we have coming for the 17-18 school year. All of these changes really help better support the Southfield School District and the families that we serve every day. So with receiving feedback from those families and of course you on the board, we were able to iron out some different opportunities to help support those families. So the first one was eliminating drop-in fees from the scheduling process that we have, which is such a great large number of problems that we see is due to those drop-in fees because life happens, right? We understand that you need a last-minute babysitter or any of those things that can come up. You didn't know you had to work late, and so we want to be able to help those families and give them an opportunity to have safe care for their children and know where they are in a fun and engaging environment. And so with that, families can now attend without having to pay that drop-in fee and just paying regular tuition. So we're very excited about that. The other one that we have is the school closures. Again, we understand life happens. We don't have control of weather, snow days, power outages, and things along those lines. So we're able to present an opportunity to refund the fees that have been paid for those days. So at no penalty to the parent for something that's out of our control, right? So that's some of our big changes. Some of the things we're really looking to create consistency in our partnership with the school district and those families is to open those lines of communication. We really want our parents to understand our processes in order to really be able to utilize our services to the best of their abilities. So we're going to be offering open houses at each of our schools at the beginning of the school year to help kind of train and do a question and answer, make sure that any questions they have, whether it be about their enrollment agreement or just the care that we provide can be answered right at that moment. Of course, you have Kathy to utilize at all times. Kathy's available and has been working one-on-one with families that have special situations that really need that added attention. So that would continue through next school year as well. We also want to have some fun, right? We're working with kiddos. It's good to have fun, and so we want to be able to engage our families in that as well. So we host what we call family engagement nights, where the families can come in with their children, of course at no cost, and just have some fun. Maybe do some activities. We do it seasonally with pumpkin carving, maybe a potluck, just some time to spend in good spirits and a really positive environment for our families to be together. And then Kathy's going to talk a little bit about our scholarships that we offer, again, so that we can support more of those families.
Definitely. So we've really made sure we're opening the lines of communication with all of our principals as well. We do have the opportunity to offer scholarships at different percentages for families that need assistance in paying for their before and after care needs. So in doing so, we've actually been able to identify an additional, I think 4 in the last 2 weeks between some of our schools where parents needed some additional help in getting the care. So we're really happy to do that, and we're going to continue to do that throughout next year as well. I've had parents who reach out to me on a very personal basis along the lines of going through the principals as well. So we go off based off principal recommendation, and if a parent feels comfortable in talking to their specific site teacher or myself, we've gone both ways. So we're going to continue doing that throughout next year as well.
So we look forward to being able to, service more families, have more children within our care. Again, open those lines of communication so that everyone is comfortable and confident. Really in the end, what it comes down to is first and foremost, Champions always says safety is our first and foremost. But outside of that is just building that community inside of our schools, inside of our districts, and of course with Champions as well. So we look forward to that opportunity moving forward into 17-18 school year.
I think one thing, by the way, my name's Cassie Nichols, I'm the Senior Area Manager for the State of Michigan. I think one thing we're happy to bring on as well is with that open house, thank you Alyssa, is being able to really help support our families in their online scheduling. So one thing we do offer is that flexible scheduling so that parents can change their schedules based on their needs every single week. So one thing that we really want to help support our families in the district with is understanding how to do that, because that is one of the biggest questions and concerns that we'll get from families is, I don't have the same schedule needs next week, but I don't know how to work the system. Can you help walk me through it? Sure, we can do that over the phone, but it's even better when we're in person. We can pop open those computers and I can show you step A, B, C, D, and E that we need to get through so that we can help support those things. So just to add on to the open house fun that we get to be able to do at the beginning of the school year, I think that that'll really help support our families too.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And a question.
Sure.
Oh, sure. Please.
Well, I'm pleased.
Good.
Good.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of this being rolled out next year. Just a quick question regarding this Friday. I know there was some information that was sent out saying that care will be provided, and then I guess enrollment was low. Can you give an update on where we are right now so that families know if care is available on Friday?
Definitely. So I offered care for the half day for all of our families here in Southfield because it's something that we haven't done in numerous years that I'm aware of. And in doing so, I had 1 to maybe 2 needs per site. So unfortunately, we weren't able to actually open it up at any of our Southfield public schools. I know Anika and the board had sent out another newsletter, I believe yesterday or the day before, offering it again. And I told her if anybody happens to mention that they need the care and we can get to that number we need to at any site, I am happy to run the program there. As of now, we've still not had any additional interest to it. So as of today, we are not running the program on the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
Now looking forward into the 17-18 school year, there may be more half days we're hearing as a potential. If there is, and we have the need, at any point during the school year, with that advance notice, we'll be able to advance notice the families.
Right.
And let you know throughout the school year on half days. So then hopefully we'll have a little more opportunity for those families to have care on those days with more than just a couple of weeks notice.
And that makes sense because we don't have the typical half days in this district. So most times parents are already making other plans. So
Yep,
it's greatly appreciated.
definitely.
Thank you so much.
Just, so I too appreciate the changes that you're making. And the open house is a great ideas, but not all parents probably will be able to participate in those open houses. So I'm hoping that maybe with Nika, you can have some kind of email blast or something, because I know you collect all that information because you got mine.
Yes, sir, so I think it's fair to say that we could probably take notes from that and maybe put together like a minutes.
Yes.
And either send out like an email blast as well as maybe handing out notes to our families that are enrolled at the sites as they're picking up or dropping off.
Excellent.
And just say, I know that you weren't able to join us. Here is what we spoke about step by step. I
Thank
think
you.
that's a fair request.
Thank you.
And the request that I had, with the changes that you guys have made, I think they are great. One of the things we talked about, if parents aren't attending the board meetings, we still want to have an avenue to communicate those changes to them. So are we planning for the start of the school semester or something to have that communication go out to our families?
Yep, we'll be sending it out via email as well as doing it at all of our open houses, making sure they understand what we've made, what changes we've made for the next school year.
I think that'll help, especially if it's in the bulk of the issues that's coming forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have another?
I did. Just 2 more questions regarding care. Third Friday, is Magnolia's an option or is for school age? And then when does camp start?
Camp starts on the 19th, so there's no lapse between care aside from the Friday. As for care at Magnolia Center for school age, that is not something that we looked into, mostly because there was no transportation for the children to actually come to the location itself.
Half day, right.
So, I mean, typically if a parent can't be there for the half day, they would need somebody to bring their child. So that was not something we looked into doing this year.
Thank you so much for your report.
Of course.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Mr. John Mayo, General Manager of First Student Transportation Company, is here to share information. To come to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Board of Education, Cabinet, Dr. Wood. This is Doug Meek, my area general manager, my boss, and the business development manager, director, Mike Ensign. And I just want to say I'm back. Thank you. I was here before, and I'm glad to be back. And I'm looking forward to bringing the positive energy back to Southfield through transportation. And just wanted to be here to give you a heads up on some of the things we're doing. We're fully staffed in the back office, administration-wise. We're fully staffed with our maintenance crew. They're ready to go. We're fully staffed with, well, we're not fully staffed with drivers yet, but we're getting there. We're having job fairs, and we are hiring. So if anybody's looking for a job, we are hiring. We have 2 recruiting events coming up real soon at the Marriott, so look into that or just go online. You can find it with firstgroup.com. And right now we have 30 buses en route. They will be here before July 1st. Dr. Siver was kind enough to let us park them at Northland, right there by the police station. So we've got some buses ready. We're going to get those ready. We'll be ready for operations starting on July 1st. So that'll be a nice weekend for us to move in and get some things going. And we have 55 buses in the various stages of production. So it's going to be great. And our routing, as far as our routing is concerned, we have Oakland Schools helping us. They're partnering us with routing. Elaine Face, Lori Richardson are in constant contact with the school district and Dennis. So we're looking forward to having it all just ready to go. The IT department has been in contact here. We're putting in some lines, some T1 lines, and computers. We're ready to go there. We got those ordered. And cameras for the buses, which is going to be a nice feature for Southfield. It's going to be very nice. And we have call center operations, Colleen Marshall, who's was a dispatcher there for 35 years. She's kind of going to step down and answer phones and kind of watch from the back and make sure we've got everything done. But we're ready to go with the call center back there. And we've got a lot of work to do. And the better the information, the better it is for us when it comes to routing. So I appreciate your time. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to call me.
Mr. Mayo, I recall you being a part of Champions. So how long?
Durham.
Oh, Durham, I'm sorry,
Yeah, it's okay.
Durham. So how long have you been with this company?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So now you would be specifically assigned to us?
Yes. Where my heart is.
Now, listen. I hate to be negative,
That's okay, go.
but since you work with Champions and
Durham.
Durham, I'm sorry,
It's
Durham.
okay.
Durham, and all the issues we had with Durham, please don't let us down and have us facing the same problems that we had before, because you were in charge then, and now you're with the first student. So I definitely don't want the same mistakes to repeat.
They will not, I
Okay.
promise. And Mrs. Robinson, I can tell you this, working with First Student, very professional, on top of their game, new fleet, new routing. And I'm really, for what I didn't know then or any misgivings that you have, believe you me, I'm ready. I'm gonna prove it to the citizens of Southfield, the students, teachers, parents, administration, board. I'm here, full time.
All right? We're gonna hold you to that,
I do, please.
okay? Any other questions, concerns?
No. Go ahead, Charles. You go
Ms.
first.
Rice,
I got a
you.
few.
Mr.
Oh.
Hicks?
Thank you. I trust the partnership is going to be beneficial to both organizations. But I don't just trust, I like to verify. I think that it would be fair, based on what the board president has stated, that we have some kind of an action plan on what it's going to look like over the summer, your activity. More specifically, communications is real important to me, as you mentioned, as you heard me mention to Champions. So where I'm concerned is making sure that after you do your routing, what's the next steps and timeline for making sure that all of the parents who are going to be using this service are aware of where their children are going to be picked up. So I just would like to have an idea of what the next steps are that you're planning. Once the buses get here, then what? What are the contingency plans if you don't get sourcing for drivers? I just think that we're trusting, but we're concerned based off of previous relationships with other organizations.
We'll be glad to prepare that for you, sir.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. I'll try to rope them into the one statement here. I'd like to know the difference between the training that we've listed, classroom training and behind the wheel training, what the differences are there. We've had some concerns in the past, so I'd like to understand what that training is. We talked about the buses that are in a stage of production. Are we expecting for those to be in place for the start of the school semester and what that timing looks like? And then additionally, talking about the increase in routes and how that impacts the plan. Because if we're looking at starting at 66 and now we're at 77, how does that impact us? And then lastly, the risk that we have with having the accurate data from the district. What type of mitigation strategy or plan do we have in place for that?
Let me address some of them. Regarding the fleet, we get daily production reports from our manufacturers of International Harvester and Thomas Built buses. They provide a complete list of all the vehicles that are being manufactured for First Student across the United States and North America. So we'll be able to provide you with when the chassis are done, when the body is slated, when it is slated to leave the plant, when it is slated to arrive here in Southfield. Let me address the routing and the concerns. With the restructuring the Bell's schedule here and moving back to a three-tier system, great challenge for the district. It's also a challenge for transportation. I'm not going to kid you that. We have worked with Elaine and Lori Richardson. What we have now is an understanding that that is our projection, I'm told, from the information that's been provided to me, that that is what we may potentially reach. The information that we had in the bid packet at the time that it was released by the district to what we can foresee at this point, we're having more routes. We are planning for an optimum level of that number, which also means we're going to have an optimum objective of 85 bus drivers. Right now we have 57 of legacy employees. Regarding the training, the classroom training consists of 17 hours for current employees for the bus drivers, plus a behind-the-wheel evaluation performed by our certified trainers within First Student from other Michigan area locations. The training has taken place during the day as the drivers are between routes morning and afternoon, so I commend them for making time available. Yes, they are compensated for that, and they are receiving paychecks now. The difference in training between what they're currently receiving, I couldn't address because I'm not familiar with the Durham Transportation Training Program. I can say that new drivers coming on board receive nearly 43 plus hours of classroom training, an additional 17 to 20 hours of behind the wheel, including skills training. Our training program has recently gone through a reevaluation, and it will be changing, so there'll be more one-on-one training taking place rather than the current program of a trainer and 2 trainees. More hands-on. It's been the analysis of our company safety department that will improve performance by the driver and reduce risk on the road. Regarding our safety program, we're twice as safe as carriers within our sector based upon the National Highway Traffic Safety Board findings. You can go online at the state, federal department level and find that. Regarding our monitor training, they'll go through a similar period of 11 hours of classroom training. We will also be supporting that with other training necessary, such as CPR, information on emergency training, and the like. So those are some of the items that I believe you mentioned. Is there any that I missed?
And the mitigation of the risk of not having.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
From a school systems perspective, and I used to be a school administrator, if you don't know how many kids are coming to your classroom, how can you staff the teachers with a ratio of whatever that number may be, right? So from our perspective, we need the accurate route information, or the student data, in order to construct the routes, which are done by Lori and Elaine. We've talked to Dennis about that need. He's assisting us in that information. The communication out to the community is going to have to be a significant, aggressive, outward communication program. Media, email, Twitter accounts, or whatever it may be, as well as communication within the buildings themselves. The core information of any student into the database rests where that individual of the school administration is taking that information from the child or from the parent and inputting that into the database. That database is then downloaded into Oakland schools each evening. So the core information rests with the person taking that information from the child. Now granted, here in Southfield we have a large population that moves, unfortunately, very frequently. Dennis shared it was in the neighborhood of 30%. I've experienced that in past positions. So we'll have to work very closely with the school system and the families so that we can plan ahead in order to provide that service and to make sure that that child is getting to school on that next Monday morning after changing addresses on Friday night.
I have one question.
Certainly.
And my main concern are these children.
Absolutely.
Always have been, always will be. And I don't know if you noticed, been watching the news lately, a lot of bus drivers have been having meltdowns. They are holding kids hostage on the buses past their route. Parents have been following the buses to pick up their kids because the bus drivers are having meltdown, yelling and screaming at kids. So are you fully giving these bus drivers training? Do they like kids? Do they love kids? Do they have kids of their own? Do they have patience with children? This is paramount. You gotta have patience with kids because kids are noisy after school. They're hyper, they're excited. But if you have a person who cannot handle this, then we're gonna have a problem. And we had it before. So I just wanna make sure you are interviewing people, training people to work with children.
I appreciate your comments.
Okay.
Very well aware of what's taking place, unfortunately, throughout our country in that situation of meltdown. It doesn't happen in Michigan, it happens all across the country.
Right.
In terms of interviewing candidates, I too participated in the interviewing process that took place during the two-day job fair that we initially held. And I myself interviewed candidates that are current employees here in the district as bus drivers and bus attendants. So I didn't have an arm's length. I was there in the trenches with the team. If you're a leader, you have to be in the trenches with the team, because if not, then how do you know what's going on and how can you correct the course? We look forward to working with the drivers in conflict prevention intervention training and any other programs that the district may provide its staff, no matter what level that may be. We'll be glad to participate, and we welcome the invitation to do so. It is a collaboration between all parties for us to be successful, and we thank you for the opportunity of being here.
Board President, just one more question.
Sure.
I can wait till after Mr.
I
Jones.
just have two questions.
Yes, sir.
How old are your buses and what type of technology are on the buses?
How old are our buses? Well, we have 55 of them that are brand new.
Okay.
And of the remaining units, they are no older than 3 years. All are equipped or will be equipped with sonar, GPS, crossing gates, two-way radios, digital cameras. Camera systems per the RFP and per the equipment in the buses will be a 4-camera system. We have a 3-camera system that will be in the smaller Type A buses, of which there are 4. The wheelchair-equipped buses, of which there are 33 coming in, are 48-passenger buses, and they too will have a 3-camera system inside the vehicle with a very large fisheye camera in midsection in order to take the appropriate preventions.
Mr. Hicks?
Okay, so I'm just going to be very transparent. I'm concerned. I'm not sure how the numbers were derived on the number of routes. It sounds like it's less than what we currently have. Is that correct? Because I thought we were closer to something like 90 routes. Is that fair?
At the time.
How many routes do we have, Dennis?
We're right around 80 right now.
80. And
And
your
the,
number
and
is?
the original RFP was for 67, sir.
Okay.
And based upon my communication with the Oakland schools within the last 24 hours, plus the communication from last week, that's what we're shooting for.
Okay.
Now, if we can, we're not here to put as many buses on the road as we choose.
Sure.
We're here to be efficient. And if that number goes down, that's fine. But when school bells open, and we may have an increase in enrollment within the community as students transition from one school to another, it wouldn't be prudent for a first student not to have enough buses or enough drivers. So that's our objective, to staff up to 85, plan on 77 routes, and hope that, hey, if it turns out to be 72, that's great. What does that mean? We've got extra drivers.
So do you all, I'm assuming you practice timings and?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, our interaction with Lori and Elaine is John's had it for a long period of time, as have I. We'll be going through the routes. We'll be evaluating them on paper, computer. We'll be doing drive runs as well. So towards the beginning of the school year, families will be seeing the yellow buses running through town. And I shouldn't say running through town, driving through town. And the drivers will go through their drive runs. If we find that there's a mistake in the route, then the driver has the opportunity to sit down and share with us, with our router, what needs to be changed on the route. Well, it may be changed on the route for timing. It may be changed on the route for safety. The information gets updated, and we also have to notify the parents of the change. Otherwise, we're going to have a bus showing up before the child is there, or the bus may be behind schedule for whatever reason, and we'll have to adjust. And typically within the start of the school year, to what I refer to as Fourth Friday count, those are the biggest transitional changes that take place within transportation. And we have that call center that will be established for 2 months, and if it needs to be longer, then it'll be longer than that.
I don't want to elongate the meeting, but can we have a sidebar meeting with first student just to ask additional questions? Because, to be honest, because you were with Durham, I think we have to do the proper due diligence to understand your plan in more depth. Because we can't afford to have what we had before. Maybe that's just me.
Well, we'll be glad to.
If you got more questions, we can have a study session,
Okay,
just with that.
thank you.
Please contact me, and we'll be glad
Okay.
to make arrangements
We'll
and
make
go
it
forth
Dennis,
with
yeah,
that.
we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Can I just ask
I'm
my-
sorry.
yeah.
You have a question?
I do, and actually, if you want to just jot these down, and when we have our study session, if you can just come prepared to respond with the plan. I would like to know about your labeling, the way that you plan to label your buses. How are especially the younger kids, how are they going to be able to identify the buses? What's your policy with student lists on the bus? So will there be a list? Will there be a picture of the child so that the bus driver, if there is like a sub or a fill-in driver, they can identify that that student belongs on that bus? And then also your cell phone use policy, even with the hands-free type of thing.
Let me get quick to the close on the last one.
Okay.
If an employee is found to be doing such while operating the school bus, they're no longer employed by First Student. That's a company-wide national policy. We don't tolerate that. And we'll work-
And you have the other questions?
We'll work on the others.
Okay, thank you.
And should I say, if you have other questions in advance, please feel free to send them to us, and that will help us to expedite and be
Okay.
prepared for the meeting.
We'll jot them down and give them to Dennis, and he can
Okay,
notify
fine.
you.
Thank you
Okay?
so much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
And Matt,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Through the soup, I just want to make sure that the Head Start requirements are followed in terms of just what we need to make sure to have
The training.
in terms of that. And then I could be mistakenly reading it, but letter W under action items, number 6 does look like it's regarding this particular contract. It just says a heads up to the board.
Should we remove it until the study session?
Okay.
Madam
right.
President, just a request. I know we talked about establishing a dashboard with some of the quality metrics from the vendor contracts. If we're moving into a study session to talk about that, the hope would be that we have some sort of model in place so we can start to monitor as the vendors come on board for this new school semester.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. It's now time for staff and student recognition. Bussey Early Childhood Center received a generous donation of $20,000. Principal Janice Hill is here with more information. Ms. Hill.
Good evening, Dr. Wood, board members, cabinet members, and community.
Good evening.
So probably in about April, the second week in April, I received a phone call from the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Detroit, and they said that there was a family who wanted to donate some money, and they had heard about Bussey, but they wanted me to sell them on why Bussey. So for those of you who don't know, I sold radio for about 15 years before I went into education. So I can sell everybody a Eskimo, igloo, and air conditioners for each one of his rooms. So needless to say, I spoke to the lady and she said, okay, how much? Well, the way I was raised by my mom, I could never put a dollar amount. So I said whatever they would like to give. So probably about 4 weeks later, I got an envelope in the mail and I opened it up. I thought maybe $100, and it was a check for $10,000. So I immediately ran to the phone and I said, I need to talk to Dr. Wood immediately. And so I spoke with her, and I didn't make contact with the family. Their last names are the Billmeyers. And I told her how gracious we were and how humbled. And she said, we wish we could do more, and we will partner with you in the future. And then the next day she called and she said, my husband and I talked last night, and we're sending another $10,000. So in this envelope, I have 2 checks for $10,000 that has been donated to Bussey Center for Early Childhood Education for the use of whatever we find fit or we need for our children and our families. And I am humble, I'm grateful, I invited them, but they're also humble. So what we did is the children created some artwork. We were gonna do thank you cards, but we got canvases, and they drew pictures of themselves and wrote thank you, and I'm going to deliver them along with Board President Robinson tomorrow? Thursday we're gonna deliver it. She said, bring it to my house. And I said, not a problem. If you want us to walk there, we'll walk there. And what's important is they live in Bloomfield Hills. and they heard about what was going on in Southfield. So it is so important what we do for children and families and the blueprint that we leave. You never know who's watching you.
Yes.
And I'm trusting that she will contact her other friends and let them know about the wonderful things happening. You have to speak it, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
we will have an opportunity to provide additional services and support for our children and families in the Southfield District. So I would like to hand this envelope over to Dr. Wood and President Betty Robinson, and I know that you all will get it to the fiscal department so they can make a timely deposit.
Into your account. For your account,
Into
right.
Leslie's account. Thank you.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate generous people like this. You know, some people do love children. Okay. Track and field athletes from Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology received numerous accolades. Athletic Director Anika McEvans is here with more information. Ms. McEvans, are you here? No? Is there anyone here from the athletic department who can speak on her behalf? No? Okay, well, thank you so much. Well, University High oratorical students are here, along with their teacher, Ms. Speak. Would you take the podium and let us know all about this wonderful students we have here?
Good evening. Thanks again for having us and recognizing the work of our students. This is our second year in a row coming before you where University High School students have won 4 out of 4 placements in this oratorical contest. This year I came a little bit more prepared and I wanted to give you a little blurb about the actual program in which our students participated in. The Stryker Bar Association, in collaboration with Wolverine Bar Association and the Association of Black Judges, sponsor an annual oratorical competition. This competition actually has 2 stages. One is a writing component, and the second is an oral advocacy competition. Before introducing the students, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about their prompt. This year's essay topic was, if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. were alive today, would he argue President Trump's executive order protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States is a necessary restriction on the exercise of religious freedom in order to protect our country against acts of terrorism? If not, would Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. argue that President Trump's executive order is a form of discrimination against religious freedoms and dissent that should be overturned? Each participating student submitted an essay of not more than 1,000 words. The next step was that members of those 3 organizations in which I named reviewed the essays to select finalists. Then the finalists were assigned a mentor. That mentor was a sitting judge or a participating attorney from the Oakland County area. The finalist then presented his or her case in front of a panel of judges in a courtroom filled with attorneys down at Wayne State School of Law. I attended this event this year. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend in person last year, so I didn't catch the full gravity of this program. I just celebrated the achievements of our students last year. This year I went with them on the Saturday to the School of Law and watched them present their case in a courtroom, and it was really tremendous. It was tremendous to see our students present and to make these oral arguments. They received compliments from some of the judges in the state of Michigan saying that they sounded like law students, that they sounded like they could be first-year practicing attorneys. It was quite outstanding to see that type of recognition. So with that being said, I want to introduce this year's winners. William Spraggins won 5th place and a $500 scholarship. Morgan Alpert won 3rd place with a $1,000 scholarship. Peyton Wells won 2nd place with a $1,500 scholarship. And unfortunately, our first place winner, Miss Mania Williams, won $5,000. That's not what's unfortunate. What's unfortunate is that she couldn't attend this evening, but we want to congratulate her as well. Thank you again for acknowledging the tremendous work of our students.
Thank you, Ms. Megan. You guys want to come to the podium, introduce yourselves?
Hi there, my name is Peyton Wells.
And what grade are you in, Peyton?
I'm in 11th.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Morgan Albert. I'm in the 11th grade as well.
Very good.
Good evening. My name is William Spraggins. I am also a junior, 11th grade.
Thank you. Great. Wonderful. Great job.
Congratulations.
Go down there and represent like a lawyer.
Yes.
Well.
She did very well.
Okay. I don't know how many of you read our publication called The Message. These students were also listed, but there's one other award that I'd like to read to you for MacArthur. This is a Lexia Learning Company honors MacArthur class. Lexia Learning honored MacArthur first grade teacher Melissa Brown's class with a pizza party celebrating for being the highest achieving class in Southfield on Lexia Reading Core 5, a Rosetta Stone company the district piloted this year. The program provides a personalized reading curriculum for pre-kindergarten through 5th grade. Students learn, practice, and consolidate foundational literacy skills by interacting with an online adaptive program. The teacher-led lessons and skill builders are designed to meet and exceed rigorous state standards as well as the Common Core state standard. Each year, Lexia Learning honors a class that has met and exceeded growth expectations. Brown's first grade class has more than done so, as 32% of her class are working at a first grade level, 32% is working at a second grade level, 14% at a third grade level, and 18% at a fourth grade level. Melissa Brown has worked diligently with her students to make sure they have the required amount of weekly Lexia minutes on the computer, said Angela Taylor Gloucester, professional development facilitator for Southfield Public School. She prints weekly Lexia reports to see which students need many lessons and is diligent about working with students who need extra support in small groups or individually. Fantastic job. We really appreciate Ms. Brown, and those are the kind of teachers we love to hear from Southfield. Thank you. Now, time for the superintendent's report. Dr. Wood.
Well, thank you, Board President. And I'm always in awe as I continually listen about our children, about our students, and about our young people. The university high school students, about the students at MacArthur. I could go through every one of our buildings and highlight, and it always makes me proud. And so this is the time of the year when we are just full of celebrations, of acknowledgments, final reports and final exams, and for many of our students, they're just looking forward to summer vacation. And probably I could say students and some of our staff. But as we engage in all these activities, the moment that we all look forward to and treasure is the celebration of graduation. When we get to that end of the 12th year, when all of the hard work comes to a pinnacle and our children walk across the stage and receive a diploma that means so much to them and to their families and moves on to new journeys and new chapters in their lives. This past Sunday, Southfield Schools held its graduation for University High School and Southfield A&T at the beautiful Shane Park. Simply wonderful and a memorable day and afternoon. I too had tears of joy as I listened and embraced the accomplishments and talents of our students. We have a tremendous district and we live in a great community. The future of Southfield Public Schools is bright, and I'd like for this moment for our marketing and public relations person, Anika Corbett, to come to the podium and provide us with an update on how we are marketing our district and what we're doing to grow Southfield Public Schools.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Wood. Good evening, Board Trustees, Cabinet, staff, and community. My name is Anika Corbett. I am the Director of Marketing, and this is our marketing report. Southfield Public Schools has been recently covered in the news. The Detroit News actually covered a story regarding President Trump administration's proposal to eliminate federal funding. As a result of this, the news came out to Southfield Regional to do an interview with the students and the staff of that program I apologize, give me 1 minute. The proposal is to eliminate the federal programs of after-school programs such as the C2 Wayne State pipeline that's offered at Southfield Regional and Southfield A&T. So the news came out to do an interview regarding the students, the staff, to share why this would be a devastating proposal. We also had coverage in the Daily Tribune as well as the Oakland Press regarding our high graduation rate. Southfield Public School is 7th out of 28 Oakland schools with a high graduation rate. That is great. And also, Channel 7 featured us in a district-wide involvement. Well, regarding our I do apologize. Regarding our district-wide involvement in the food service program. Current marketing activities. As a part of the district's retention campaign, last month we were advertised in the Metro Parent Big Book of Schools. Metro Parent's Big Book of Schools is an annual publication with a readership of 25,000. The book features breakdowns of all of the schools in Southeast Michigan. We are also, as early as this week, we are doing our radio campaign on 102.7 FM, 107.5 FM, as well as 92.3 FM. Advertising on these 3 radio stations, as well as doing a district mail postcard to every household in Southfield and Lathrop Village. Every household that includes children with the ages of 5 and 17. In addition to our retention campaign, we will be running a campaign for our preschool, which is BUTSE, Center for Early Childhood Education. Marketing will also be giving a facelift to our website. This redesign will be more user-friendly, and it will allow visitors to find information easier. Upcoming events. In the news, you may have heard that there are a few charter schools that are closing in our area. There are a lot of Southfield students that are without a school. The district is hosting an open house tomorrow evening from 5 to 7:30 at the High School for the Arts and Technology in the Media Center to provide information to families interested in enrolling in Southfield Public Schools. Also, upcoming is our back to school fair. Yes, this is the last week of school, but we're already gearing up for back to school fair in August. It will run August 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it will be held at the Southfield High for Arts and Technology. There are great things happening in Southfield Public Schools. In addition to our website, I invite you to connect with us on social media. We are now on Instagram, and this was our latest edition as of April, and it adds to our channels that we already have, which are Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I have one.
Hi.
With the social media, do our students also receive that, or is it only the parents?
For social media,
Yeah.
it's those who like us, follow us, subscribe to those channels. Yes. So what we do is we market and promote those channels on TV 16 as well as in the message. It's always there for them to connect with us on that social media wave.
just think if we get the students engaged,
Mhm.
we'll have a bigger population to be able to spread the word.
Certainly, certainly. And we also monitor those channels.
Yes, we do.
Okay. And, okay.
Any other questions?
Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
She has 89.
At this time, I also would like to introduce a video. So in addition to the information that we send out externally, I and my team are responsible for the things that happen internally. A few months ago, we introduced a series called A Day in the Life, and we featured our marching band. This is a part of the marketing campaign that we're doing for our academies. So this feature here is regarding Arts and Communication Academy, and this is the dance feature.
Typical day is coming in the morning, putting up my agenda and cuts for the day. So the kids walk in, they see what we're going to do, get them to wake up, we do our exercises, and then work on the choreography. The dance classes we have here, they start at Dance 1, then Dance 2, Advanced Dance Company. The difference is just the level of the dancers.
So as far as Dance 1 as a teacher's assistant, when we teach them different moves, we help them with it and try to perfect them on it. If they're feeling kind of awkward or not as confident, we just try to give them that pick-me-up, like you can do it.
There was an audition for Dance Company. We had to make our own solo pieces and perform it. It could be whatever style we wanted. Not hip-hop though, it had to be like jazz, ballet, contemporary. We had to audition in front of our teacher, Ms. Shinky, and she then told us who actually got accepted into the dance company and our dance company class, which is last hour of the day. So everyone who made that company had that class.
In dance company, we do warm-ups and bell work, but then we work on our own separate choreographies that we're doing for the dance concert. And we're all packed in different groups.
I've actually been dancing since I was 3 years old. Dance has definitely changed my life in a positive way. If I ever have something on my chest or something on my mind, I can always get rid of that through dance. I feel like dance creates more of a positive environment for me.
It gives me like a source of freedom and to do what I love. I've been through a lot, so sometimes my mood can just change and from being in that bad place. But dance gives me a space to actually listen to music and be happy and make others happy while performing, which I love to do. Because if you can't do that, if you're locked down, you won't have the tools you need to survive in the world.
I have been dancing since I was 4 years old. It was always a passion of mine. I just love dance, the fluid movement of dance and how it makes people have different emotions, the emotion it gives off for your audience.
Dancing is very personal. Your tool is your body. And a lot of students are uncomfortable with stepping out of the box, their comfort zone, and learning real technique as opposed to street dancing. So just getting them to take responsibility, be encouraged, take risk, all our IB concepts come into play with that. A lot of times they think they can't do anything, and then when you push them and you see that they can do it, and you see that in their eyes, that they're like, oh, I really can do it, that's the best part.
Thank you. I was going to say, I remember now what else I wanted to say. The video that we had last time with Why I Teach,
yes,
it would be great if we had that uploaded as part of our social media stream or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's
thought
infectious.
Part of it is already up on the web.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on. It's already up there.
Already.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Hall. Oh, I'm so sorry.
There are quite a few community events in Southfield this summer. Are we planning to have a presence there? I know particularly the solstice is this Saturday. Are we gonna have cards? Are we gonna have information there, a booth?
Yes, she can talk to that for sure.
Yes, so Southfield, the city of Southfield is hosting their Solstice Fest this Saturday. And a part of the fest is a parade. This is an inaugural event for them. The Leaving Marching Band will be participating in that event. So we will have a presence in that event.
And there will be cars, correct?
Yes,
For
so
Board
also
Diversity?
riding in cars that will have the Southfield Board of Education sign on the side of it will be these beautiful members here.
Trustee Smith reminded me of something as well, which speaking of Southfield and Parks and Rec, for lack of a better word, we get the it comes about 2 times a year with
the
all
brochure.
of the brochure.
Park and Rec Guide.
Yeah, and that, and then also even the scribe, which is more for your senior citizens, but the scribe, the calendar, and then that community events packet that comes out every year. I'd love to see Southfield Public Schools use that territorially and get our information in there because they do those things quite early before the calendar is obviously printed and things like that. So maybe it's something we could look into.
I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Good point.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Cabinet, Ms. Hall.
Good evening, board members. The Personnel Action Report is contained within the consent agenda for your review and approval. But I also want to take this time out to congratulate and wish best wishes for our 24 retirees that we had this school year, one of whom is our own superintendent, Dr. Linda Wood. So we congratulate them and wish them the very best in future endeavors.
Good evening. It's time for our regular meeting to look at our financials for our general fund. This is actually through June 8th to give you the most current information. We are nearly complete with our fiscal year. It will be ending June 30th. And primarily up to this point, we are on a cash basis. We will be doing some of our closing entries after June 30th. And actually, our interim audit starts tomorrow. What we've got before you shows the revenues. Of the red bar indicates what the budget is, as it has been amended by the Board of Education. So we are projecting $88.2 million worth of revenues this fiscal year, of which we've received 86% to date, or nearly $70 million. Essentially, we have a few payments left from Oakland schools and an additional tax payment of about $2 million forthcoming from the city of Southfield. On the expenditure area, the expenses are, I have got to apologize. They are reversed because our expenditures actually are exceeding our revenues in the approved budget, by about $2.3 million. And our expenditures year to date are $74 million. We also have open purchase orders or commitments of nearly $2.3 million that we'll see through the end of the year. So we can see from the revenue aspect, and here we now see it correctly at $85.9 million. And we have received the bulk of our local revenues, or 97%. Again, that primarily is tax dollars. State aid, we're at 73%, and that is because of the way the state aid is paid out to districts. It is paid out from October through August. We will actually be accruing our July and August payment as part of our year-end close. Oakland schools, we've received 93% to date. That is primarily our PA 18 or Public Act 18 money, which is a special levy for special education services. And then in the area of other, represents a one-time payment we received in conjunction with a refund from the insurance pool that we participate in, and also the sale of some of our excess buses. Expenditures are projected at $88.3 million, and again, this is primarily on a cash basis. And we can see the breakdown here is fairly consistent, 76.8% spent on instruction, 83% on support services according to the budget, athletics, 87.2%. Those are primarily include the bulk of our staff who, some of our groups, primarily our largest group, teachers, may be on a long pay, so we do have a year-end accrual associated with that as well. And that's really just the highlights. You do have a distribution report later in your board packet for information. I also have a second report today, and it's just an update on the Head Start program. It is also an agenda item that you have later in your packet. We received notification, or President Robinson did, regarding the award of a increase for cost of living adjustment. So we received an additional $13,227, which is equivalent to 1% of the allocation that they currently give us for program operations. And that will be utilized for some increases in staff salaries. There are about 27 staff members in the Head Start program, the wage-related benefits that come with that, and also to pick up part of the increase in cost as far as the MESA insurance. Thank you. That concludes my report for tonight.
Good evening. I have several reports this evening for the board. I will begin with the focus school report for Stevenson, and I'll ask Principal LePerriere to come to the podium to present our focus school progress update for June of this year.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm a little melted. It's been a little hot at Stevenson Elementary, so please bear with me, but thank you for having me this evening as I present our focus school progress report. Just a reminder, this is designed to update the Board of Education, parents, and stakeholders on the progress being made at Stevenson Elementary to close the achievement gap between our highest achieving and lowest achieving students. And this reporting period covers instructional activities from April 2017 through now in June. Our goal is to continue to focus on improving the achievement gap and lessening it, obviously, reducing it. Between the students initially identified and the bottom 30% resulting in our focus school designation, as well as any other students that may need additional support. And as we continue to provide research-based interventions designed to improve the educational achievement of our students, we will continue to provide rigorous instruction to all students, not just the bottom 30%. So 3 research-based strategies that we continue to utilize. We are doing small group interventions within the classroom, not just in pull-out tier 2, but the teachers are doing classroom interventions with those students, 30 to 45 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week in math and reading. The teachers will continue to receive professional development in data analysis, and that helps them guide that instruction with those small group interventions. And we are also continuing to send teams of teachers to receive professional development on student engagement in the classroom. So this year, here are some quick summaries of professional development that we implemented this school year overall. Polly Szynski, our data director for the district, facilitated quite a bit of staff professional development on the NWEA or MAP test. So we were able to analyze the MAP data and inform instruction. We utilized our Division of Instruction professional development facilitators in math and ELA. We used quite a bit of assessment data to guide instruction, and we did a lot of data analysis. And we continued with our student engagement book study and instructional strategies professional development. Ooh, Mrs. Szynski, these colors didn't come out so well in real life, but Polly helped me make this graph, so when we looked at it on the computer, it looked awesome. We have our spring map data, and we just wanted to show you that there are some growth areas as well as some areas where we're very pleased that over 50 and up to 85% of our students met or exceeded their growth goals in the MAP test. So the green is everything 50% or above. 50% of the students in that grade level in that subject or above met or exceeded their goals. The yellow are the students that were right almost at that 50% mark. And then I think it was orange, but now it's kind of a weird pink color, are the students that are a little bit less than 50%. And those are our growth areas. Obviously, we continue to look at kindergarten. I still maintain that some of our kindergartners just aren't that adept with the technology and the test taking. And so sometimes it's hard to get a good grasp on their skills, but we give the test to them in kindergarten because it gives them that experience. You literally see kindergartners in the fall touching the screen because they're used to using their parents' iPads and tablets, and just that mouse manipulation and using the test is an experience in itself for them. But we do see enormous growth then the next year in first grade once they get used to that and they're using the Chromebooks more successfully. And then in math, of course, we're continuing to analyze that data. And I think with our work in curriculum this year and next year with math and a more focused pacing and constructive curriculum for our teachers, I think that will be very helpful as well. So I just wanted to show you that, flipping back real quick, our fifth grade, 85% of our fifth graders met or exceeded their growth goal, and we are celebrating that, as well as a really nice number in fourth grade. So when we break that down in this quadrant report, you can see that quite a few of our fifth graders are in the upper right quadrant of high achievement and high growth, which means that we are pushing them towards college and career readiness. And this graph is so cool and so neat that when you click on each little triangle, you can see the student's name and their actual score, and you get a lot of really good data from this graph. But what we're very pleased with is how many students really moved up into that high achievement and high growth quadrant area for the end of the school year. So we are confident that that will continue to improve. Whoops, and I thank you for your continued support.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible we can get a hard copy or electronic copy of that?
Absolutely. I believe Ms. Christian, does she share it with you after each board meeting? But I'll make sure that it is shared with you.
Okay, I hate to ask this question again and be negative. When do you anticipate getting the school off the focus list? It's been 3 years now, almost 4.
Right, and you know, a lot of that has to do with the change in the test, and they did not allow anyone to be removed from the list. So I'm hoping that in the fall of 2017 is the change. Polly, did you want to speak on that? But we're also wondering what kind of language will be in the new MSTEP.
So the other thing is that the state we will not see scorecards like we've seen in the past. Next fall, the state is changing their metric on how they're reporting data out. They are saying that there will be no top to bottom ranking, which is the metric that was used to create priority and focus schools. What they have not told us is exactly how those various components of what they will report, how those will be reported yet, nor have they told us what will be used to actually determine whether schools are removed from a focus school or priority school status. Additionally to that is every year, it's not like it's a fixed mark that we can work and aim for. Because it typically is a percentage of a group. That scale slides depending on the test metrics in any given year. And so while we want to say next year's going to be the year we come off, it is really hard for us to even be able to readily predict that, given that there are all these metrics that they just don't give us the information on. I couldn't even try to approximate that for you at this time because I just don't have enough of the definitions of what they're going to use to even be able to try to create an approximation of what that might look like.
Okay. Even though third grade was your issue for being on the focus list, the chart you just shown still reflect low scores in math and language in third grade. So when can we get over that hurdle? This third grade just seems to be an issue.
In third grade, well, I'll start and then Sandy can jump in. Third grade does tend to be an issue in schools across the district. It's a transitional year for students where they're going from that original early L spiraled curriculum into a, skills become more abstract, both in reading and in their mathematics courses. So that's part of it, is just the change in dynamic of what third graders actually learn. Additionally, we're hoping that with the curriculum development that's going on, we will have some additional measures internally next year to be able to look at that and take a more focused look at how we're delivering instruction, what's being delivered, and if we can see students grasping those, and then we can maybe begin to tell, are they grasping the concepts but not performing well on the assessment at the state level, or is there something we need to change and enhance with our curriculum?
Any other questions, concerns? No. Okay, thank you.
And so at this time, I'm going to ask George Chapp and Alma Dean to come to the podium to talk about the summer school dates for the high school, which is credit recovery and credit enhancement, and the Title I K-8 summer school for enrichment. So Alma first and then George.
Good evening, board, superintendent, cabinet, and community. I was not expecting to be here, but I am happy to be here. So I'd like to share with you or give you an update on our summer school K-8 program. Right now, the only program that Southfield Public Schools offers for K-8 students, or I'm sorry, for elementary students, is our Title I program. And that's offered by invitation only. We had the mandatory orientation last week, so we have selected all of our students. Summer school begins Monday, June 26th, and it's extended through July 27th, with Monday, July 3rd, and Tuesday, July 4th off. As usual, we do not have summer school on Fridays. It's offered from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology.
Good evening to the members of the board, cabinet, and community. Just following up on what Ms. Dean said, our high school summer school credit recovery will be run through Monday, June 26th, but on August 3rd. We've extended it by a few days this year to give students a little bit more time with instruction prior to examinations. We are also going to be including a couple of different changes to the program, where we will have a mid program conference on July 17th, parent-teacher conferences, just to give parents and students an update as to their progress. We had a soft launch as of last Friday on the online registration portal. We wanted to see over the weekend how that would work out prior to the official launch, which was Monday on July 12th. June 12th. And so we have found that several parents had already registered online successfully, so that actual portal is working. Our high school counselors and middle school counselors have already met as of last week with any student that had failed at least one course in their first semester at the high school level, or was in danger of failing a course this semester. Communications have also gone out to families of students that are in a credit recovery or credit deficit situation or are threatened to be. We are also offering as a transitional assistance an on-site registration help for parents. That will be on June 22nd at Southfield A&T Media Center from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Flyer information has already been distributed at the high schools and the middle school levels as of today. That information is also available on the website, and they need to thank Anika Corbett for helping out, really highlighting that on the web page and web portal, and also Devera Hodges and several others, Alma Dean included, for making sure that we have clean, clear language, simplified language for how parents can utilize this registration service. Okay. Unless there's any other questions.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding in particular to summer school for K-8. If someone could speak to some of the factors associated with why we don't have an option for families who don't meet the Title I qualifications. Maybe, parents want to have their kid in a more academic summer program as opposed to a camp. Can you kind of speak to that? Has that ever existed in Southfield? What are some of the factors associated with why we no longer offer it?
Well, what has happened in the past, we typically offer that every summer, and we send the flyers home, and unfortunately, we never have received enough feedback or enough parent participation or student participation in order to run the program. We have had in the past where we opened registration up for enrichment courses, some things that were just kind of fun, like jury making, sculpting, and things of that nature. We also had some academic programs that we offered. And we just didn't have enough participation to run it, so we eventually moved toward the Title I program. But one of the things that we have in our favor, that is an invitation program. So it is open. We do try to begin with the students who have the greatest need, and if for whatever reasons they aren't able to participate, that invitation is extended. And we rely very much on our principals and our teachers because they are very familiar with those students, and they share with us the families who would benefit most from those services.
Okay. Does it help?
It does.
Okay.
I'm wondering how often we review that just to see if, maybe
Certainly.
parent participation.
And that's something that most definitely can happen. There has been swings. There was a time when there was no Title I summer school, and parents paid out of their pocket for summer school programming. And but that is when the number of free and reduced and at-risk students were lower in the district. So the percentage is higher, which allows us to have funding to support that. And because of the rules and regs of federal dollars, so you know all of that. And she is right on point. We've had STEM, we've had types of enrichment programming, but it all has to be supported out of the funds from parent at this point in time. So unless we're able to go into the general fund and support it, that's the problem.
But perhaps in the future, we can work with marketing and reach out to the public and see if there is a desire for such a program to exist and, create one. We are very open to receive feedback and suggestions. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
One additional announcement regarding summer school, the summer reading list. There will be a link on the main webpage to the summer reading list for parents, so they don't have to scroll through the various tabs to get to it. So the parents can actually see the summer reading list for the various grades across the district, and that will be up and running this week. So at this point, I'm providing the monthly curriculum update to the board. I provided you with a hard copy as you requested last month. And so we're building, so I'm not gonna go through every slide, we're building on the work of the previous months as we go through this work. So as you saw, we met the curriculum team last month. It consists of administrators that were a part of the first part of visioning. We went through the template that was provided by Blueprint. It has proven very, very helpful in helping us to focus on what does it mean to have high quality, ambitious, subject-specific instruction. And what's interesting is that we've discovered in working that people don't know what high quality, subject-specific instruction is. They know what they do and how they instruct, but what does it mean to really go through and look at what does it mean by subject? What does high quality instruction look like? Not just knowing your craft or knowing your information, but knowing how to actually make sure that students are receiving the instruction that you are delivering to them, and it's high quality and it helps them to meet high expectations. And so we had a preamble that we discovered, that we came up with in an effort to create one unified curriculum to serve the Southfield Public Schools. The Board of Education and the District Advancement Network commissioned the Associate Superintendent to assemble a team to develop a district-wide curriculum. The curriculum team was developed comprised of principals, teachers, and central administration. So I have given you each of the blocks filled that are on that first template. What is an instructional infrastructure system is on one slide. The next is why do we need that subject-specific high-quality instruction is on the next slide. What process will be used to create a specific vision for high-quality subject-specific instruction? So I want to pause here because it really requires us to really engage everybody, not just people who are administrators, but those who are delivering the instruction every day in this work from the very beginning. It cannot be a top-down piece of work. It has to be both horizontally, which means shoulder to shoulder with teachers, and vertically constructed, meaning K-12 construction. And so we've had several meetings this week and last week to make sure that that happens. And so that creation of it has to be collaborative, which means you're sharing time, trust, and turf about the issues that are needed for school, which is a part of this blueprint. Really sharing time with people, valuing that time, trust about what we are talking about, meaning that we trust that there are professionals in the room who are teachers who know their craft, and sharing turf. What are we talking about as far as instruction is concerned? What is going to be delivered to our students, and how will it be delivered? And so how will we communicate this process to stakeholders? It has to become a part of our lexicon, a part of our daily conversation. It has to be transparent, well organized, appealing, friendly, and desire input, not just given as a matter of rote, but literally input. And you know how people say that I see my fingerprints in the document at the end? People have to be able to see their fingerprints in the document at the end because they've actually communicated that process, communicated about the process and through the process. How will we implement the process? We're going to talk about that in just a second, but literally creating the vision requires nomination of teachers themselves, peer nominations, administrators, self-nominations, really constructing a team that not only consists of subject matter experts, but also consists of those by grade level. Well, how will we ensure this is a quality final product? Well, that we have to have a rubric, and we have to make sure that it actually comports with the Common Core as well as the professional expertise of the teachers in the room. How will this vision be adopted and approved? We have to present it to the DAN, present it to the board, and really the target date for really making sure that we edit and review the curriculum is every year. And so it's an ongoing space, and how will our teams meet? They will meet together, remotely, et cetera. So how will it be rolled out? We're going to talk about it in a second. So what have we done? We actually, Mrs. Rice last time said, well, when are teachers going to be involved? Well, this week and this past week, I'm happy to say that we've had quite a few teachers involved. We had meetings on June 9th, yesterday, and today with teachers because we had to wait until they were not with children. And so the teachers that largely participated in this first space are those who had students who graduated in commencement or who left on June 3rd, are those who actually were a part of promotions. Our 8th grade teachers have really, really stepped up to the plate and really done some good work, and that's teachers from Southfield Regional. So what you see is our English teachers that participated the last 3 days, Jason Cuthrell at Southfield Regional, Deb Daniels, who's here at Bernie, Joyce Johnson from MacArthur, Lori Lewis from University High School in English. Mathematics had Helen Jackson from Bernie, Regina Chimchak from MacArthur, Corey Turner from Southfield Regional. In science, we had Relina Boone from Levy and Kelly Dean from Bernie. And sociology, we had Matt Ravella from Southfield A&T and Krista Chrysler from Bernie. So teachers were involved and have been involved over the last 3 days and will continue to be involved because they are the ones who have to do the work of really designing and working together so that they can share with their peers what's going on. What's this process look like going forward? This is a really bad slide, but it is a sort of an outtake from the Google nomination form that's going to be going out to teachers tomorrow. And what that form will do is it will be sent to the teachers and they will be able to self-nominate, nominate a peer. Administrators will be able to nominate a peer. It asks what is their area of certification, what time can they commit, how often can they meet, what grade level would they want to be a part of as a process, and what expertise do they bring to the table. Polly created this form and it's going to go out tomorrow. It really does populate into a spreadsheet that will allow us to sort of see who in the district is interested. And what we're going to do is we're going to convene in curriculum framework development workshops where we actually will utilize the curriculum rate in morning sessions only. We realized that the 3 hours that we had set aside for teachers was productive. And we don't want to go to 6 hours where it becomes less productive because things wander, it's the summer, people want their breaks, all of those things. And so we're going to really be doing morning workshops with teachers on beginning this coming week and going through July 20th. Following July 20th, we actually we have to have a curriculum framework developed. As I said, mid-July is the space. We're going to send that out to our teachers. And then we're going to have a comment period. We're going to actually ask them, what do you think about this? How do you think about it? And then we're going to use our summer PD workshop, Institute workshop, to talk about rolling out the curriculum by subject matter. So on one day, we'll talk with the English teachers in the morning about the work of what the curriculum exists, and then in the afternoon, they'll do unit plans as a team to sort of begin to think that work through. And that's going to be English, science, social studies, and mathematics. And then the academic work for the year is really the work on the ground. And so we're planning to actually have a supervisor of curriculum and instruction and PD and curriculum facilitators at the levels to work alongside our teachers in a growth mindset as opposed to a punitive mindset about how this is being implemented. And we do know that peer-to-peer learning is one of the best ways that we can do this work. And so that work will take place throughout the year. So those are our next steps, and that's what we're doing. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Ms. Rice?
I'll wait to see if others have.
Go ahead.
Other questions? So the form that went out, or is going out tomorrow,
yes.
Is that to recruit additional teachers
Yes.
than what the ones that have been involved thus far?
Absolutely. So the ones that have been involved thus far are the ones that actually had time because students have graduated or been promoted. And so we knew that we did not want to take those teachers out of classrooms, but those teachers that have been involved thus far had the time to do so and volunteered the time to come during the day.
Okay. So the list that we see here from the teachers, we're expecting that to grow or expand?
Exponentially.
Okay.
It is our hope that we really have a lot. We have 420 teachers in the district. And so we have to have at least 10% of those teachers involved in the work so that it can actually filter into the building. And we also have to have building representatives that are going to be able to sort of do this work alongside their peers. It's not just going to be the job of 3 to 4 curriculum coaches and PD facilitators. It really has to be a collaborative effort across all grade levels and across all buildings. Otherwise, we will not have deep implementation of the curriculum. We just won't have it. If it's because people will resort to what they normally do if they don't feel supported. Notice I said the word supported in the effort as opposed to mandated in the effort.
Or the buy-in.
And buy-in, right.
So the department heads are involved as well?
Absolutely. So the department chairs at the high school will be a part of the work in their monthly department meetings as well as in the meetings that they have with the administration.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No question, just a comment. I'm just excited to see more. I'm excited to see this. I'm really happy with this update. I look forward to seeing more.
So I will just tell you, when we left today, and Debbie can tell, we actually felt like enriched and really motivated because the work that we've done over the last 3 days has been so collaborative and thoughtful, and the people have shed some of their inhibitions about the work and said, I'm going to think out of the box, and peers pushing other peers saying, well, did you think about it like this as opposed to like something else? And they're like, oh, I didn't think about it. And a moment, of course, when you get called out, you realize it's not bad though. Oh, I got to think about it differently. And so people have really begun to open their minds to what the possibilities are, and that has been really exciting.
Glad to hear that. That's what the blueprint was designed to do. And I see a smile on the teacher's face. That's good. I did have a couple follow-up questions.
Yes.
When we talk about the rollout between August 14th and August 18th, that's all teacher staff?
So only the core content areas where we have curriculum developed. So we're actually inviting those people specifically on the day of their subject matter to come in and talk through in the morning what the framework is, what their thoughts were when they reviewed the document over the time that they had in the summer, and what their comments are, and then in the afternoon to begin developing unit plans. So it's really only in the 4 core areas. As we move into other areas of instruction, we have to do the same process, but the 4 core areas that we've identified.
Okay. The other little bit of a concern, Mr. Lopez, with the curriculum framework development now we have through July 20th. So a little bit of out date for it, which caused me a little bit concerned. I'm still happy with we're able to meet the schedule before the next school semester, but just a little concerned with the timeline.
Yeah, we equally were talking about that. Excuse me. We could not get the yellow sheet days in this year or pull teachers out to get us further along. And so if we want to get a good product and we really don't have time invested in it, you have to spend the time to get a quality product. And that's really where that date was pushed to the 20th as opposed to the 15th.
Okay. Just one other final comment. As we communicate to the school community about getting those teachers, my hope is that we're giving them information about why this is important, why we wanted you to invest your time into it, so that they're not just getting an email and, sign up or nominate someone, and as they're leaving out, coming back in summertime.
Trying to create a buzz. Word of mouth is much more important than any email that you can send. And so the ambassadors are the people that are a part of the process. And one of the teachers today said that she literally called all of her 8th grade teachers in her subject area to see what was going on in the other buildings so that she could bring that back to the conversation today, because others don't have promotions until tomorrow or later this week. And so that's the kind of conversation that we want to have. And so you're exactly right in that regard.
Thanks for the update.
One other question.
Yes.
I know that before I was inquiring about the science, particularly at our lower L, and I know that that's not a space that we're really being intentional about right now. It will come later. How intentional are we being with making sure we have a diverse representation across all the grade bands on this committee?
Yeah,
Particularly our younger.
Yeah. So 610 is what we're talking about in science and social studies.
Mhm.
K-12 is what we're talking about in English and mathematics. I will just say that the slide that Sandra showed about the 5th grade math science departmentalization shows a lot of encouragement, because the superintendent has been having meetings with those teachers all year long. And so that work will continue into next year. And so that won't fall by the wayside, our 4th and 5th grade science and mathematics departmentalization. So we still will have, we have sort of a bridge 410 in science, and so we're going to keep that going. But we do have to engage more K-3 around science and social studies. But I would be remiss if I did not say that we also have to worry about the 3rd grade reading gate that is coming up, and how we're going to address that.
Right.
And so the work of Lexia at MacArthur has been piloted. What are we going to do really as a district to be intentional about that work around the 3rd grade reading gate is really a focus that we have to have in addition to the curriculum space, because that becomes real next year for our kids and families.
Could you just state exactly what that legislation is? Because I think,
So
for our community.
the state of Michigan has said that absent exigent circumstances, if you are not able to pass a 3rd grade reading proficiency test, you will be retained as a student. Now, there are some exceptions, but those exceptions are limited. And so our students will be subject to that next year. And so we have to, we have to get ready for that. Mrs. Robinson's question about the 3rd grade scores is so prescient, because what they fail to realize is that you are beginning a new spiral of information for kids at the 3rd grade. And so it really is punitive when kids are beginning the learning cycle in the English and mathematics to say that you got to reach a certain point before you can even go to the 4th grade, because they're just beginning that second spiral of 3rd through 5th grade. And so we have to pay attention to it, because we're held accountable for it in the work. And when you asked the question, I said, that's what's unfair about that 3rd grade space, because it begins a new cycle of learning for kids, and we're going to hold them accountable for 1 year of learning in ELA, when in fact that you really don't see real growth until they've been exposed to the content for a year or maybe 2 years in that space.
Okay.
Thank you.
Really good question.
That's in your report.
I have 2 more announcements, and then I'm sort of done for the evening. And so I want to reiterate that tomorrow evening we're having an open house informational session for students who are K-8 in the district. We did learn that quite a few of our students were at the schools that are closed in Southfield, and so I have reached out to several people to get on listservs so that we can actually get the word out to our families. And so all of our schools will be represented tomorrow evening from 5 to 7:30 at Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology in the Media Center, and sort of a mini school fair, very much like the one that we host in November for our schools, so that our parents can get information about all of our schools. In addition, registration will be there. And so Mrs. Colford will be there with her staff to answer any registration questions, and possibly even register students if they have the paperwork that's necessary. And the last announcement that I have is about transportation and the tiers for next year. And so because we're transitioning transportation services, this year we were in 2 tiers. We started one group of schools, our high school, Southfield Regional Academic Campus, and our K-5s at 8 o'clock. And we started our K-8 schools at 8:45. Those are the 2 schools that actually received bus transportation. Next year we're going to 3 tiers because it is a cost savings for the district, number one, but number two, we do believe that we can actually manage a system where students are transported in the morning in 3 tiers, which will be more attractive to drivers, because they'll have a full 8-hour day. In the morning, they'll have the 4 hours of work. In the afternoon, they'll have the 4 hours. So it's more attractive to keep those drivers, number one. But number two, it provides us with the opportunity to really sort of get into a space where we are providing quality service for our families in a way that we have not necessarily done before. So I was really thankful that you were asking all the questions the first two regarding that. Having said that, the high school will start earlier because the high school will be on a different time space, and the middle school will start at about the same time with this. I mean, the K-5s will start about the same time that they're starting right now, 15, give or take 15 or so minutes, and the K-8s will start at about the same time, give or take 15 or so minutes, to allow 3 tiers to take place. The high school has to start earlier. Those communications will get out to parents by the end of this month, June 30th, so that they can begin to prepare, and it will be in multiple spaces. It will not just be with an email or with something on the website, but we will do direct mailings, we will actually do social media, and we will do that work so that we can actually communicate that this is different than last year for our families. And that's the work that we have to do going forward. I'm not giving specific times now because we're still getting data in from Oakland schools and from our new vendor about the times that are necessary for us to conduct the routes. But note that we will actually make sure that parents and families are communicated with for the first time by the end of this month, and then thereafter multiple times through the month of July and before school begins. They will then receive their routes in the mail.
Mr. Lopez, I know I don't want to lock you into a time because you say you're still doing analysis, but will the times be any later?
So there will be slightly later, depending upon the work, because we have contractual restrictions in the teacher contract about when we can start teachers and when we end teachers. And so we can't start, and it's also not healthy for kids to start school before 7:30 in the morning. So that's about the time we'll start our high school. And then approximately 45 to 50 minutes thereafter will be the next tier, and then 45 to 50 minutes thereafter will be the third tier. And so the latest we'll get out of school is 4:15 now. We get out at 4. The K-8's got to get out at 4. The latest we'll go about 4:15.
What about start times?
Again, 45 minutes past 45. The first tier is about 7:30.
Right.
45 minutes for the K-5s. We have to have in between routes about another 45 minutes in between the second and third route in order for the buses to get back out and get to the routes and get those kids to school on time.
Thank you.
I have a comment. I was thinking about it earlier during the transportation report, but I felt like it was really geared towards Southfield Public Schools in terms of our process. But those beautiful orange barrels making all of our lives so wonderful over the next few months.
Be back in our life.
I just want to, I know I've said it before, and I've even spoken to a few folks at the city just when I see them, just to say, hey, make sure you reach out to our buildings anytime they have projects. But I think it's important that we communicate with them over the summer as we flesh out our transportation situation, just to make sure they understand that it encumbers our getting kids to school on time, missing 15 minutes at the beginning, you're missing some time at the end. So whatever we can do through the public relations department to just reach out and be heard.
I just want to add, I do agree and support, and so Anika will be very instrumental in that. Mr. Lopez can most definitely build those relationships. But as you did learn this evening, Mr. Mio is back. He experienced and lived the transportation challenges of when there's construction and you're trying to operate a 3-tier and ensuring that there's enough time in between those tiers to support pickup and exit. So I am very hopeful that all of the richness of knowledge that we've had over the last few years will be shared and implemented appropriately with the new vendor.
I had a question regarding the late release time as it relates to some of the teachers and some of their concerns. What steps are we taking to at least make sure that they are educated about how the route system works, to hear their concerns, just to make sure that we're not changing something and just
kind of telling them this is how it is,
Yeah.
but making sure, as you spoke earlier, making sure that everyone's a part of the process, especially those that are going to be impacted, because we've received many emails
Yes.
and many
So-
concerns, and so I just want to make sure that, you know, as a community, we continue to move forward, you know, as one, and not just making people feel like, you know, we're just doing things and imposing it on them.
Sure. So every email that I receive, I'm sort of reading, and one of the things that I'm planning to do at the very beginning of the time when teachers come back in August is sort of go on this listening tour and understand and listen to what their concerns are. One of the things that we're just challenged with this whole space because of the three-tier system and the space. And so I did reach out to principals early on to talk about what were the best, what tier would be best for their school. And of course, no one wants to start the latest because they want to be able to sort of get home, and it gets darker in the wintertime. Absolutely true, all of that. The challenge really does exist. I'm not going to minimize it. It's just that it's forced upon us because of the nature of what a three-tier system requires. Otherwise, there's a cost associated with the two-tier system that doesn't allow us to sort of close our budget gap.
Any other questions? Okay, Head Start report, Ms. Charles.
Thank you. The Busse Center for Early Childhood Education Policy Council meeting occurred on June 5th, 2017. This is somewhat of an abbreviated report, and I will make sure to get the additional information via electronic form to the board and to Ms. Christian. But in the interim, I do want to mention that we did meet our full enrollment for Head Start, that I should also mention that the director's report includes enrollment report, ADA, the CACFP, the compliance reports, the monitoring reports, the self-assessment, and any resignations or new hires. And as I was mentioning, we are fully enrolled. The Office of Head Start's regional office visited us, and members of the board participated along with Policy Council. And the gentleman's name who visited was Mr. Young. And although it is always intimidating when you have a meeting with the feds, it was actually pretty pleasant, and he was very pleased. In fact, he said that we were on the end of his tour around the countries or around the town, I should say around the region. And he said that he was really impressed with the level of turnout with Policy Council and members of the board. You know, a lot of times you just don't have that attention to the program. But something that I think our school district would be very proud to at least put in the notes, in the minutes, is that he was impressed with our high level of technology. He said our buildings were state-of-the-art, that our students were engaging with state-of-the-art things. And so I know when it comes time for our district-wide accreditation and things like that, those would be things we'll be very, very proud to include. So moving forward, though, we did meet all compliances, and we're currently meeting our goals on the 5-year strategic plan. There were some communications that came across for the technical assistance, a new award there in terms of a grant. The child nutrition program income eligibility guidelines have been updated, and a few others have come down as well. In regards to our financials, the total grant was $1,679,601. Of that, we have spent 78.7 of the federal and 77.4 of the local match in kind, and that is already in your emails in an electronic form that Kate provided in terms of a PowerPoint, so you have that at your disposal. And I just thank you for being so involved in Head Start in this community, and it's very important to all of us. And also, I know it was mentioned in the report by the PR person that schools have closed. Wayne County is likely not releasing students to Oakland County Head Start programs or pre-K programs and things such as that. So Ms. Hill and her staff are aggressively recruiting for enrollment, and she did mention that as of last week, Monday, we would be able to start our building with 85 students already ready to go out the door. So she and her staff anticipate being able to get the rest of that done by the end of the summer. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd just like to thank the few board members who continuously attend Busse Policy Council. It's very important, and we should all find the time to attend at least one of those meetings per year. Okay. We're now at public participation. If you wish to address the board regarding an issue that has not yet been resolved by school administration, please submit a blue comment card immediately. Only those persons with concerns related to school matters may participate during the public participation portion of the meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will listen to comments, but may not respond during the meeting. Comments may be referred to an administrator or the superintendent for follow-up. Complaints concerning employees should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the board. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention persons by name. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. The first one is Diane Richardson. Would you please come to the podium and give us your name and address, please?
My name is Diane Richardson. I'm a former employee of Southfield Public Schools. I spent approximately 29 years with Southfield Schools. I recently retired on June 1st. I felt I should come forward because I spent a year at Southfield A&T, and I have to say that I was disappointed with many of the things that I saw during that year. I felt that the students, the parents, and the teachers are the greatest voice, and that many times their needs were ignored, and that the administration, we need a strong administration at A&T because A&T reflects our community. A lot of your discussion today focused on increasing enrollment. You are not going to increase enrollment if the students are not happy. You're not going to increase enrollment if the teachers are unhappy. You're not going to increase enrollment if the parents are unhappy. We have to do more in order to make that a safe environment for our students, an open environment. Many of the students who came from Southfield Lathrop, they did not feel welcome. They felt that they were bullied, they were harassed. This did not just come from the students, but it came from some of the administration. The teachers were afraid to speak up because they felt that they would be retaliated. How do we retaliate with a teacher? You do it through their scheduling. You do it through their evaluations. Teachers had an evaluation that they were highly effective or they were effective. They switched administrators, and all of a sudden those same teachers were ineffective. This is a retaliatory school, and I think if you look at the absenteeism this year of the teachers, if you look at the fact that substitutes do not want to come to the building, if you look at the fact that many of the students are unhappy and they do not feel that they have an advocate at the school. They do not feel that they have anyone they can turn to. We have a police officer who walks with a bulletproof vest. Why do we need that in our school system? If a student has a concern, that person is not approachable because the students, they feel him, they see that, and that is not a warm and fuzzy person if you're walking towards you with a bulletproof vest to discuss some concerns that you have within the building. We also, the students have to pay for everything in the building. They had to pay for a pep rally. That should be part of the climate. A pep rally is the first thing that our ninth graders, they were very excited. But when many of them found that they had to pay $5 for a pep rally, they didn't have it. We have students who are in foster care. We have students who have been raised by their grandparents. We have students whose parents just don't have that extra $5. And monthly, we collect money so they can have jeans, wear jeans on Fridays. Where is that money going? Because it is not going for field trips. We were told it's going for Xerox paper. Well, I would like to find out exactly where that money goes and why we are nickel and diming our students. We need this to be a fun environment, an open environment, conducive for learning. But when our students feel that they're harassed and that they're put upon and they're frustrated and they don't have an advocate that they can speak to in the building, they're going to shut down. You are not going to see academic growth until those students, they feel accepted. And this year, I'm sorry, but they were not accepted. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Debbie Daniels.
Good evening. I spoke at the December meeting, yet felt that with the new members, it would be worth voicing my concerns again, especially since we are in the middle of negotiations and will hopefully have a contract soon. Please know.
I'm sorry. You didn't give your name and address, please.
Debbie Daniels, 1895 Harvard, Berkeley, Michigan.
Thank you so much.
Please know that the teachers want to settle our contract. I've been a teacher in this district for 14 years, and I've worked for 4 different superintendents, made a home in 3 different buildings, and have taught 5 different grade levels. In the past 4 years, I've seen a big change in the district in the ways that teachers have been treated. The beginning of this school year, I sat with a hopeful optimism that there might be a few changes. I listened on opening day as Dr. Wood emphasized that the teachers are the backbone and the heart of the district. If that statement is true, then why are we not being compensated or respected for our hard work? In the past 4 years, my class size has increased from 24 students per class to 30 or 32. Minutes have been added to the school day and days added to the calendar year, and we've seen an increase in our health care costs. Yet, I have not seen an increase in my salary. While settling this contract, we should lower class sizes to ensure balance. Currently, I have 32 to 34 students in a class period and then 15 in another. Most importantly, the district needs to give teachers a step. In most professions where an employee has a bachelor's degree and master's degree and given more work hours, more hours and more days, and all the evaluations are seen as highly effective, they would receive a raise. In my case, my salary has been frozen. The money is there. As of June 30th, 11 teachers who are on step 12 will be retiring. Last fall, 31 new teachers were hired in at step 10 or higher, with the explanation that the district needs to honor their years of service for other districts. Why not instead honor the teachers who have worked in this district for over 10 years? I am one of 145 loyal SPS teachers who deserve a step. On a side note, 5 of those teachers left the district before the year was over. Sorry. When our salary was frozen, I went and found a second job. I now have 4. Instead of participating in after-school activities such as music, concerts, tutoring, or other athletic events, I must leave directly to go to my second job. Counting weeknights and weekends, I'm spending 20 extra hours working instead of being able to dedicate this time to my students and lesson planning. Let's not count the average of 10 hours per week of grading papers, which teachers do not receive overtime pay. During this summer, instead of attending the Michigan Reading Association Conference, or the NCTE conference, I'm now working full-time at jobs 3 and 4. It's sad and humiliating, having a career, 2 degrees in higher education, and having to work 4 jobs alongside high school students and college students because the job I truly love won't advance my salary or give a reasonable raise. Teachers, like me, 145 to be exact, continue to go above and beyond for the overall success of our students. Now is the time to reward us for our hard work and dedication.
Christian Biondo? Am I pronouncing this right? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Kristen Biondo, 2017 North Wilson, Royal Oak, Michigan. So I want to start with the fact that I've actually had a great year at Southfield A&T. I've had one of the best groups of students I think I've ever had. We had an amazing field trip to the Chicago Shakespeare Theater where I had one kid turn around at intermission and say, "This is awesome." And I had another kid say to me at the end of the trip, "I didn't know a play could be like that." That's how much they enjoyed it. But as I stand up here, I feel guilty sharing this because so many of my colleagues are so distressed and so depressed about what's going on in our district. I think I've heard it said, and I agree, that our district needs stability and consistency above everything else. So this didn't happen yesterday at our staff meeting. We were informed by our administration that we don't know our final teaching assignments for next year. We don't have room assignments for next year. We don't have a calendar for next year. We don't have a start date for next year, and I understand it's about busing, but we don't have start and end times for the school day next year. So I know a lot of these items have to be negotiated through SEA, but it seems like it is taking incredibly long. Other districts have had calendars up for months. I know Royal Oak passed out calendars at Kindergarten Roundup back in April. It's just really frustrating for everyone involved. And I stood here in October and I talked about HR issues. It's June and I'm back and I'm talking about the same issues. But now it's compounded by the fact that some of our loyal staff with 10 or 20 years experience has been laid off. The new hires in our building, I know Debbie mentioned we've lost 5 of 10. The new hires I've spoken to are shocked about the chaos and mostly the lack of communication in our building. As I walk the halls, I hear teachers saying over and over, everybody's looking for a new job. The focus on this district needs to be to retain the staff that we have. We know the families, we know the buildings, we know the curriculum. We're working to build the new curriculum. We know each other, and we need that stability and consistency. Steps for the current staff need to be a priority before you lose us as well, and you have to replace us with teachers at higher steps anyway. Thank you very much.
Thank you. David Rather.
Good evening, Dave Rather, President SCA, 17500 West 11 Mile, Lathrop Village. I've been working in this district for the last 10 years, and when I was hired in 2006, I was given 2 steps from my previous time in another district. I was so excited to work in a school district with such a prestigious reputation. So this year I should have received my 12th and final step, but instead I am still on step 8. If I was single without children like I was when I was hired, step 8 would be bearable for the last 5 years, accounting for the 1 step given since. But I'm married with a child. Step 8 with a master's plus 30 has become an albatross for me and my family to bear. Who would have known that a decision to leave my employment elsewhere would have been a decision to keep my status static for so many years? With close to $200,000 of student loans, lost years of law school, and 3, almost 4 degrees, my level of education and debt does not support my current financial situation. No one enters teaching thinking they are going to be a millionaire, but I did leave law school thinking teaching was worth it and would be enough. Currently, I have conversations with my husband about adding a second child to our family, but financially this decision would be irresponsible. Imagine what professional has to talk about sufficient financial environment and having a child. The decision between man and wife has become a decision between man, wife, and Southfield Public Schools. If I was only given the salary I thought I would receive 10 years ago, what profession can freeze for 5 years and be acceptable? And add insult to injury, hearing the news that new hires entered on step 10, a step that has eluded me and so many other hardworking teachers. One would wonder why central administration awards those for their service in other districts rather than teachers who have been here. I understand that changing times, sacrifices had to be made by all, but now it seems as if only the teachers on steps and secretaries are making the most of the sacrifices. If I went to another district, I could make the same amount I am making now, as some districts give up to half the time spent in other districts, with the opportunity to have my pay increase annually. Maybe going to another district I will feel respected for my service and that my level of academic achievement was not a waste. As I am writing this, I am taking time away from writing my dissertation for the University of Michigan, but this is more important. As a teacher, my family and students come first, but as a professional, I expect my salary to reflect my service and time. Wouldn't you? Now, if you haven't figured that out, those are not my words. But it was sent to me, and it kind of reflects, as this year I was trying to build a better relationship with the district, and I think we've made some headway, but as this year's come to a close, I'm seeing a lot of the old bad habits, bad practices coming back around again, calendar, other things, all kinds of stuff all out there. And it really bothered me that a teacher sent this to me and asked me to share this with the board because they were too afraid to share it themselves. And I really wish that teacher would come out here and, so you don't think I'm making this up, but that bothered me because that says to me, we haven't come as far as I'd hoped. Because their fear of retribution and reprisal from administration. and evaluations and other things that have transpired here at the end of the year really kind of support this teacher's letter to me more than the idealism I'd hoped we had accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. Jovan Alber.
Good evening, board, community, and staff members. I'm Giovanna Alber, 895 Pontiac Trail. I am an administrative assistant at Southfield Regional Academic Campus 5 days a week, and 4 days a week I help to facilitate and coordinate an after-school program called the C2 Pipeline Program. And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on what Anika had said. The Free Press had come out to, the Free Press had contacted Wayne State regarding our program, which is in 15 of the metro area high schools. Southfield was uniquely chosen to have it placed in 2 of our high schools, at A&T and at Southfield Regional. They came out regarding the proposed budget cuts that the Trump administration, and how that's going to affect the after-school programs and summer programs. So out of the 15 schools, they chose Southfield Regional to come out, which was, we were very excited. They interviewed myself and my staff, Kathy Fuller, a certified teacher, and Bradley Bloomhuff, also one of our teachers, and they did an amazing article that ended up being the cover story on the Free Press on the 6th of June. So I just wanted to bring a copy to the board, and I also wanted to let them know, and Division of Instruction, that there are a lot of resources that this program offers to all the students at A&T and at Southfield Regional. There is an amazing lab and innovation center there that has 25 different STEM-based enrichments that are free. I have a brochure here that normally any other communities, there's a cost. It's free for any of our teachers, for all of our students, not just students in the C2 Pipeline Program. So I just wanted to let you know that they have this great resource. Also, they have summer camps during winter break, spring break, and a great residential camp for our students. So I just wanted to let you know and leave this with you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
If you have a chance, go online and look at the Free Press. They did videos of individual interviews with our students, and they were really amazing.
Thank you. Kathy L. Slate.
Kathy Slate, 17539 Westland Avenue, Southfield, Michigan. You all see me all the time at the meetings.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the things that you all talk about was communications, not only with staff, but parents and the community. So while I heard a couple of my colleagues speak about no start time, no end time, when I received my assignment letter, as you, many of it did, it said August 22nd. So I was kind of concerned about that because no one communicated to us that that was going to be a new start date for us, and that a new start date would be a 28th for the parents. A lot of us wait to the end to do our vacations and things like that. So I thought that was kind of disappointing to see that date. I don't know if you all were trying to add the additional 5 days that the state has required us to do, but other districts have found other ways to do that within the school year. I know, I think I heard the Champions people mention half days. I was gonna lose my breath back there when I heard that word. But you know, you're talking about 5 half days where as long as the students are in school, it does count as a day for students. So, and half PD for the staff, to get rid of those collaborative every Monday meetings that some of us can't attend, or if we do attend, it's really not productive. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think a 3-hour PD would be more productive than a 1 hour. And you're not talking about something every month or every week. There's something that parents can find out in advance. If you have one every other month, that would take that 5 days up, and we can get out in a reasonable time. We're not burning up like we are, like Jack and the Incredibles walking around today in these schools. And it's hot. So we're talking about August 22nd to June 15th. So adding those 6 days didn't change the calendar that much. So I'm not exactly sure what that August 22nd date was. The other concern, Mr. Lopez kind of spoke about the time. I was under the understanding it was 3-tier, but I was corrected. It's 2 tiers. But my school is slated to start at 9 o'clock, 9 to 4:15. Now, I'm not in the self-contained class. We rotate in 4th and 5th grade. Kids shut down about 2:30. And I heard things about quality instruction and whether or not the students are receiving. I don't see that in the building at 3:30, at 3 o'clock, when you've been there all day. And a lot of these kids are still getting up at the same time because their parents have to be to work at a certain time. It's, that doesn't change. But they're starting later and getting out later. So I'm not sure what can be done or what can be modified. And I'm not speaking personally for me. 9 to 4:15 is not a big deal for me. But I'm speaking for my colleagues at my school that it would be a troublesome time frame for them to be there until 4:15 and 5:15, 5:30 on meeting days. So I'm just asking that if something can be done with the time that it could, and to communicate with us, talk to us, let us know what's going on. If you considering August 22nd, let us know. We don't know until we get a letter saying, here, report here, this is the date. We didn't get any information about that. So communication, communication, communication. Thank you.
Thank you. Jaden Brooks.
Jaden Brooks, 20791 Delaware Street, Southfield, Michigan.
Speaking to the mic, young man. Thank you.
So my concern is about UHSA. No, I don't go to UHSA, but I was attempting to go to UHSA. And I was talking to my friend about it after track practice. They go to UHSA. And I was like, yeah, I was gonna try to see if I could go to UHSA next year. But they ended up telling me that you can't test in when you're going into your junior or senior year. Now, for me personally, I was disappointed because I went through all of this. Me going to MacArthur, graduating 8th grade, teachers, I was going to go to UPrep. I was going to go to university my freshman year. But they ended up telling me that I just wasn't ready for it. I couldn't handle it at the time. So I took my first 2 high school years to be able to get ready and to gear up for it. And now to be told that I can't test in as a junior, it just disappointed me. And if Southfield A&T was a little bit better of a school, I feel like my mother wouldn't have that much of a problem with me being there. So that's all I have to say on my matter.
Thank you very much. Patrice Taylor.
Good evening, Patrice Taylor, 20791 Delaware Street. It's a little bit emotional for me. My wonderful son, preparing for UHSA, he did not go because my mother had passed. So that's why he just did not want to talk about that. Preparing for that was a stressful time for him. And I took myself over there and tried to do the right thing. And I went to speak with Dean Williams. And I said, there's a lot going on over at Southfield A&T. A lot. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, wonderful teacher, for explaining all of that. I did not want to state her name because I am not supposed to do that. It's much deeper than that. As a parent, I think that I've done a lot. I think that I've come to every meeting. I think that I've said a lot to you all. And my son is going through a lot. A lot. And when I went to approach Dean Williams, she said, Mrs. Taylor, that's above my pay rate. You're gonna have to do something different. I am fighting for my son's education. Do you hear me? I'm fighting for his education. My son is a smart kid. He gets 3.4. He can test. No, you can't do it. I am asking you to do something different. There are no other choices. I said that last week. You forced me to do something different. You forced me. And then you're being hoodwinked and bamboozled by Chartwells. Do you hear me? That $2,500, that's probably our money. I tell you all the time to do something and audit them. They give you that check, that rotten food that they've been giving us. They should give you 10 times over that. But that's something totally different. I asked for a FOI because I needed to ask for that wonderful contract of Chartwells. And there states in that the guidelines for the USDA, it says there should be an advisory board of parents and teachers to go over the menu. I'd like to know, someone tell me, has there ever been that? So I have this Chartwells craziness. They come over here with a $2,500 check. I have a headache. Then my child, my wonderful, wonderful child. I need something to be done. I need something to be done. I love you, Jaden. We're gonna do something. I'm trying to stay in the district, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're now at action items. These are items that are required for action by the board. And gonna have a motion to approve Report 5584, Personnel Action Report, which relates to goal.
I move that we open and approve Report 5584, Personnel Action Report.
Oh, goodness, the deep voice.
Support.
Okay. Call for the vote, please.
Do we have discussion? No discussion?
Do you have discussion?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Just one of my concerns is I haven't seen the agreement for the change of assignment, the one that we have.
Change of assignment.
Mr. Lopez. She's referring to Mr. Lopez.
She had a question for you.
No. She's referring to his change of assignment.
I just haven't seen. It's in here?
It should be on the first page.
No, I'm just saying I haven't seen the agreement.
Oh, the agreement.
The addendum.
Oh, addendum, I see. No. That's gonna come at closed session.
Okay.
Closed session.
Do you want to remove that one?
Want to pull it?
Yes.
Okay.
Number one?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Can you amend the motion, please?
Okay. Well, so I would like to amend the motion to open and approve the report as written with the change to strike out line 1.
Personnel action report.
Personnel action report, yes.
Support.
Okay, now call for the vote.
All right. Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve Report 5585, approval of 2017-2018 budget and tax rates.
I move we open and approve 5585, the resolution for the adoption of the 17-18 budget.
Support.
Discussion.
Discussion, yes.
There is a request for a forecast to actuals model for some of the specific items that we need to monitor closely. So I'd like to see, as we approve the budget, that we have that model in place, or tentatively date as to when we would have that in place.
Kate, you understand that question?
I believe we discussed that it would be something that we would bring to the board study session in August.
Yes.
So yes, it's on our radar.
Okay. Any other questions? Call for the vote, Madam Secretary.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Unanimous?
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve Report 5586, Champions LLC contract renewal?
Is there a report for the tax rates? Am I missing, did we? That's my next one.
5585?
Page 17.
It's all together there. Okay.
Page 6.
So page, from 8 to 14 is all one?
Yeah.
Oh, to 15.
15, yeah.
Okay.
And it
Thank
says on 14, tax rate for 2017-18.
Right, but I was missing
And the other one
the
says, the chart is here as well.
identifying number, just to make sure.
That's on 15.
Right, should be on 14 too. Should be on them all. If it's the same, from the volume and the report, it makes it look like it's a whole nother action item, is what I'm stating, for clarity.
Oh,
Okay, that's all.
okay.
I move that we open and approve
But it says 5586.
Report 5586, Champion LLC contract renewal. Support.
Call for the vote, Madam President, Madam Secretary.
Just a little discussion. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the action item here. And I see at the bottom, it does state some of the changes that were mentioned here today. I'm just wondering if the addendum or the extension of the contract also includes those things as well. I see here the no fee increase, but then they listed quite a few things when they were here talking. So I just want to make sure, are we including all of those things in that contract?
The contract itself shows the no fee. My understanding from the hearing in Cambridge that their documents are corporate documents. And so some of the items they weren't able to specifically write out. We do have our minutes and our notes, that those were, that they have an agreement not to bill us for those things and giving the credit back. But is it specifically spelled out into the, document? No, because they would probably have to have some kind of corporate level to get those passed.
Okay, so these are local accommodations that they're making for us. Okay, I understand.
Which is why we should do the communication to the parents.
Right,
Yep.
absolutely. Okay.
So are you finished with that?
Yes, I'm just getting my notes down here.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve report? You're not finished?
I'm gonna call the vote.
Oh, you haven't, okay, that's what I said, you
was
finished.
Making the
Okay.
notations for it. Okay. Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes,
Unanimous.
okay. Can we have a motion to approve report 5587, Follett School Solution, Destiny Library Management Renewal?
I move we open report 5587, Follett School Solutions Library Management Renewal, and approve.
Support.
Any questions? Discussion?
My question will be for the remaining textbook, instruction pieces, just to ask the question, and you probably stated it at the study session back in May that I wasn't at, but the purchase of these does tie into our curriculum rollout. I'm just being prudent and not assuming.
So the answer is yes. We are not going to purchase materials for curriculum. These are the other licensing rules are year to year in and year out things, but the textbooks that are actually in this, there are a list of several textbooks for each item because the teachers themselves will be a part of the selection process once this goes through. We want to make sure that we purchase them and get them on hand before the board meets in August. And the textbooks we selected follows the writing of the curriculum framework.
Okay. But Mr. Lopez, can you also speak to using these resources as well as the new resources together so that the teacher has an option to kind of use the framework but also go beyond that?
So part of the challenge is that people believe that the textbook is a curriculum and it's not. And so the textbooks we currently have, as well as the textbooks that we're purchasing, are resources and tools that will be used by the teachers to actually implement the curriculum that is there. And so we're using them in a way that we will act that they're intended, which is that we are choosing the Common Core and pulling out of them what we should be using, as well as the resources that are online that are part of the accompanying textbook.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question completely? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, call for the vote.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Unanimous?
Did you say no?
I said unanimous.
Oh, unanimous, I thought you said no, okay. Okay, a motion to approve Report 5588, Scholastic Read 180 and Math 180 renewal.
I move that we open and approve report number 5588, Scholastic Read 180 and Math 180 renewal.
Support.
Any discussion? Question? Okay, call for the vote?
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous?
Okay, can I have a motion to approve Report 5589, Advanced Placement, AP Literature, Instruction Material Purchase?
I move we open and approve Report 5589, the Advanced Placement Lit Instructional Materials Purchase.
Support.
Okay, is this something new, or is this a renewal? It's brand new, correct?
So this is a renewal for AP literature. This year we will have more sections of AP literature, so we need additional textbooks. So this is actually an increase in the number of textbooks, so the students all have the ability and availability to be online as well as in the classrooms.
Madam Secretary, please call for the vote, please.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous?
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve Report 5590, Advanced Placement AP World History Instructional Material Purchase.
I move that we open Report 5590, Advanced Placement AP World History Instructional Materials Purchase.
And approved.
And approve. Thank you.
I support.
Is this also new?
So this actually is new, because the AP restructured their world history course, or AP world history course. The instructor is actually working out with several people who actually teach AP world history and accounting as to which textbook is the best one, and we will purchase the one that is selected based upon his knowledge and what comes out of those conversations.
Out of the three that's listed here.
Yeah, out of the three of us. Four.
That's four listed.
Four.
Do I have?
Yeah, that's four.
No, you're looking
Am I
at,
blank?
you're looking at 91.
Okay.
5590.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions? Call for the vote, please.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Robertson?
Yes.
Myself, yes, unanimous.
Is there an issue? No.
issue.
Discussed it, okay. Can I have a motion to approve Report 5591, Earth Space Science Instruction Material Purchase?
I move that we open and approve Report 5591, Earth Space Science Instructional Materials Purchase.
I support.
Question?
Questions, yes, concern?
Is the increased amount for these based on the higher number of materials needed? That's my assumption.
So this right here is actually
$60,000.
on the development of the new curriculum. And so this is for a grade level for students in earth space science, and that's approximately $60,000, or about 600 units.
For one grade level.
One grade level. Because that's across the district, one grade level across the district.
And the other ones where we have 10K is a much smaller.
Yeah, the number of students who are taking those courses is much smaller, because this is actually a core curriculum requirement, whereas for AP or history, there's history generic, and for AP literature, there's junior literature and senior literature that are also offered. So those are advanced placement courses with the core. This is actually the core that everyone will have.
So, Mr. Lopez, to that point, is that the same for the next couple of reports? Because I see this.
Yes, for the next four reports. So earth-based science, physical science, economics, and marine environment are grade level purchases, because those are the semester courses that will be offered as a part of the core curriculum and the curricular sequence for social studies and for science.
And of those, or I should say of the 60,000, just a percentage would you say is in consumables?
So none of these are in consumables,
Great.
because they have online resources attached to them.
Okay.
Springboard is sort of unique at the high school level that as a consumable. But these are not consumable in that regard.
Now, you have a note here that an alternative resource may be selected by the curriculum team as it delves further into its work, and the board will be advised of the adoption of that resource in accordance with this board action item by Superintendent upon its selection. So why are we buying these now?
So we're not buying these particular now. So what I did is, these are the ones that we vetted early, so they were at our administrative level, looking at the resources and possibly being able to make those selections. But when teachers see these resources and other resources come in, they may select a different resource based upon the curriculum that they've actually helped to design. And so we know that these are likely resources because they are they're traditional and people are using them in other districts. But there might be an additional resource or another resource that has the same material content that we don't have at this point in time.
But can we wait till you guys further delve into it before we make this purchase?
So we're not making the purchase. If we don't make the purchase now, we will not have the books available for the beginning of the school year. If we don't have a proof of board action item now, we would have to wait until the August 28th retreat to actually have a board action item. It would take several weeks for these books to get in. And so that's why I gave you a series of books that are possible selections for the 4 items so that we can have those textbooks in place when students arrive.
So after you delve into it and you decide we need something else, then what do we do with these? We spent 60 grand on. You said after you delve into it and you decide on something else in addition to that, we ought to purchase that too, and then what do we do with these?
So we would actually purchase one of these, only one of these for each of the 4 items.
Okay.
Or an alternate resource that'd be one of those for the course. So we wouldn't be buying all of these in addition to, we purchase one of these resources after teachers review and select based upon that, and then that's what would be purchased, and the board would be advised of what that purchase is.
Okay. Any other concerns? We have a call for the vote, please?
Trustee Robertson?
No.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's 5-1.
Okay. 5591. Can I have a motion to approve Report 5592, Physical Science Instructional Materials Purchase?
I move we open and approve 5592.
3.
I'm sorry, 5593, American Government.
We just did 2, didn't we?
No, we just did 91.
Oh.
We just did, this, we on 92.
I think that's what I said.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's what I said. Volume
I read
55,
92.
Report 92, Physical Science Instructional Materials Purchase. I move we open and approve.
Support.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, concerns? No? Call for the vote, please.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous.
Okay. Is there any other concern? We seem to be communicating here out of order.
What?
Okay.
I did notice, Board President, that the notes are the same on all of the reports here, the note about the alternative resource. Which I have no problem with, but I know you brought that up as a contingency.
Okay. Can we have a motion to approve Report 5593, American Government Instructional Materials Purchase?
I move that we open and approve Report 5593, American Government Instructional Materials Purchase.
Support.
Questions?
No. But I am glad that American government is still a part of the fabric of instruction, because people ask me in the grocery store, no one's teaching government anymore, so just a side little note.
Call for the vote, please.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Can I have a motion to approve Report 5594, Economics Instruction Material Purchase?
I move we open and approve Report 5594, Economics Instructional Materials Purchase.
Support.
Questions, concern? Call for the vote, please.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Can I have a motion to approve Report 5595, Pearson Education Elementary Social Studies Consumable Purchase?
I move we open Report 5595, Pearson Ed Elementary Social Studies Consumable Purchase.
Support.
Question?
Questions?
These are the online texts?
So these are actually consumables inside the K-5 classroom for social studies.
Okay, any other concerns? Call for the vote, please.
I have a question. I'm sorry. You said this is a consumable. Does this align with the instruction that's already being used at the K-5 level?
So yes, so these are actually a part of the purchase that took place in 2013.
Okay.
And so these are just consumables that we purchase every year until we change that resource. And so that consumable is a part of this, that is needed for that series.
Okay.
Because the students use them, so every year you have to.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And we don't anticipate that changing with the revamping,
Not this coming year.
not this coming year?
Not for K-5 social studies. Remember, we're looking 610 social studies, 610 science. This is a K-5 social studies consumable.
How aligned is this to the work of the 610 space?
It's very aligned. So we actually, today was a very good discussion about what are the key tenets of social studies K-12. And so these materials literally align to what those things are. But again, these resources are just things that you pull out of what you're teaching anyway. And so that's the purpose of us sort of continuing the consumables. And K-5 students need tactile things. They need things that they can write on and touch and see and use, unlike high school students that use notebook paper and do other things for their learning.
Okay. Okay. Any other concerns? Call for the vote, please.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Unanimous?
Thank you.
Before we go to the next one, can I ask a parliamentary question? Is there anything in our bylaws that don't allow us to ask for yea or nay? Or do we have to do roll call for every item? Is that just practice? Is that our practice, or can we say all in favor for yes?
You mean for all of them?
Well,
Or
not
just
for all
one
of them at
each?
one time. Just
Oh.
Instead of after we open and approve the report,
Mhm.
could we ask for a show of hands or a paddle that says all yes, raise your hand, as opposed to each individual board member? I'm just asking because we have a lot of items. Is there any concern doing that? That's just what I'm asking.
Doesn't bother me, the way we're doing it.
Okay. Right.
I don't have a
Just,
problem with that.
just as long as the record also shows that it is our pleasure to sometimes do roll call.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
Especially
I'm
for
saying. I prefer roll call. I mean, I don't have a
hot
problem
button
with roll
issues
calls.
where people can hide under the table. So I like the roll call, but for most of these, I would be fine with the roll call. I mean,
Yay, nay.
yay, nay. Right.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
Okay, where were we at, person education, elementary, said what,
96.
95.
M.
Are you finished with that? Okay. Which one? Did we do the roll call vote?
We didn't do that one yet.
Okay, I
Last
know.
roll call I have is
For L.
the social studies.
Correct. Okay. Motion to approve report 5596, everyday mathematics, K-5 instructional material.
I move that we open and approve report 5596, everyday mathematics, K-5 instructional materials purchase.
Support.
Questions?
This too is for a grade level.
K-5, and it's also consumable.
We have that on this one?
Any other questions?
This is 96, right?
Yes.
This is not yet.
96.
I know, I'm about to pass out.
Any other concerns? Call for the vote. You have something?
I don't see consumables on here. Am I, oh, let me see.
5596, at the bottom, it says, everyday mathematics, K-5 instructional material. That's the one we are now.
It's not written on there, consumable that I can see.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not written here,
But
it
it-
says workbooks,
so-
but there are consumables.
Okay.
The kids consume them every year. They're workbooks.
Okay. Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Okay.
You're opposed?
Were you a no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
A motion to approve.
I'm sorry. Chair, can we take a recess, please? Just 3 minutes. It's very hot.
I don't know. Does anybody else need a recess? I think if we continue, we can finish this. You want somebody else to take your place?
No, it's fine.
A proxy. Okay, I like that.
Okay, we can group them. Let's see, report 5597, report 5598, 5599, 55100. 97 is GenNet online learning renewal. 98, College Board Springboard Secondary Mathematics Program renewal. 99, Admentum Instructional Technology Contract renewal. 100, NWEA Measures of Academic Progress, MAP Assessment for 2017-2018. So you got one.
Do 101 too.
101? What is it? I hear two voices speaking.
Do 101 too.
Thank you. 101, College Board PSAT 8-9, and PSAT NMSQT assessment for 2017-2018.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions, concern? Call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
Okay. Motion to approve 55, 102, 103, 104, 105. 102, supplemental funds from the Office of Head Start. 103, extension of contract for early childhood intervention teachers. 104, Oakland Schools Master Technology Agreement. 105, revived policies, second reading and approval.
I have a question, a weird question.
Go ahead.
For the supplemental funds from the Office of Head Start, how do I phrase this question? If we've gotten a donation, is there any rules against being able to utilize it for what we're requesting here today?
So, I mean, I can jump in, or Kate, or whoever. But, so like the COLA is kind of a separate thing. In the donation, it will be a line item specific to how Bussy wants to expend it. So, it wouldn't be to offset that, if I understand your question correctly.
Meaning that it's not permissible to use for that?
Personally, I wouldn't want to use it for that, but Kate, please.
Let me just, this in itself is a separate grant allocation.
Understood,
It gives us
yeah.
the COLA for 13, so we have to submit, and that's what this approves. As far as the $20,000 donation, I don't believe that I've not seen that there's any documentation or any restrictions that are associated with it, so that would really be, Ms. Hills for Bussy Center to determine in conjunction with, the approval of the superintendent on how these funds will be used.
Right.
But because it is a one-time payment, it wouldn't be able
donation.
to support any other type of continued, wage increase.
Right.
And the donor was just very concerned that the money doesn't get mixed up with the operational general fund, and that it's directly aligned to the budget lines for Bussy.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions about the rest of the reports? 101, 102, 103, 104, 105?
So move for approval.
Support.
Call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay, motion to approve Report 55-106. Approval of pupil transportation contract.
I have a question.
Wait, are we
Sure.
on,
Bill 106.
policy is 105?
That was added to the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, the one we just approved.
I have a question. With the discussion that took place tonight, and with the next step move being a study session, should we hold off on voting on this until that study session happens because of the questions that came up, particularly as it relates to the routes, considering that it looks like there's going to be an increase in the routes, which would be an increase in the funds, if I understood that correctly. Kate, if you could speak to that.
First, let me just reiterate a couple things. One is the information here is based on what was stated in the RFP, which again, that's where the route information and the bid came in at. And it was so that we could do an apples to apples. Bearing in mind, again, we have not had a 3-tier with this school district configuration before, so that made the routing question still open, but the bid was based on a cost per route. So they were then the least cost bidder based on that numeric scheme. Based on a different number of routes would have come out, they still would have been the least cost bidder. My concern, I mean, you can have the discussion, but as we sit here on June 13th, is we have transportation services that are needed for July 1.
That's right.
But it is a to the board on how you care to.
No, and I definitely understand the time restraint that we have. So, I don't know, just asking the question. I will just also like the record to reflect that I do kind of feel a little put in a situation where, again, kind of like at the last minute, we're hearing about an increase. And I don't feel like we really have any protection against that, especially considering, as you mentioned, we're at 13th of June and we need services for July 1.
The actual routing though is based on the number of pieces, the number of students we have in our database, and we are working with a number. Actually, we do have direct input into that because the parties that are working on the routes, and we provide the information, would be Mr. Gregory, Lori Richardson from the county, another person from the county, and then Doug, Elaine Face from the county, and then Mr. Meeks from, I hope I have his last name right, from First Student. So First Student is the one telling us the number of routes that are needed. It's coming from the recommendation of that group, that collaborative effort, based on the data that we have. Part of they understand we're gonna have to do some sizing as we move forward. We'll come up with the first set of routes, and obviously, first day out the door, we wanna make sure that students are picked up and we have optimum routing. It will be reviewed continually through that first, month, up to the time that we really have the people count, at which time it will be, adjusted, and I think that's the way the contract is written as well.
Okay. That was my concern, that we have those
We're not getting anything
protections
shoved at us from First Student.
Okay.
Not to use the word shoved at us, but
Right.
there are a number of players in here that make that decision.
Okay.
And Mr. Gregory would be ultimately that as our district representative.
Just speaking from a place of concern, especially with past,
Yep.
experience with Durham. So.
Hopefully it all becomes part of just history.
Okay, very good.
And I will add that July is going to be a very intense month with respect to what they're providing for us, because we do have to look very closely at the number of routes, how the tiers play themselves out, and what's going on, because we have to make sure that we get this right on day one. This cannot be a remake of what happened the last couple of years with Durham. And so I not only listened to, but I heard the board's concern, and I think First Student also heard the concern, and we will be holding their feet to the fire through the month of July with many meetings about this work.
Yeah. And one other just word of a safeguard that we have built in our contract as well are those regular monthly reports, which I think falls perfectly into what Ms. Rice was talking about earlier, is that feedback to know that we are monitoring, we're measuring, and we are holding our staff accountable as well as our new vendor.
Okay. You call for the vote?
We have to open it.
We have to open and approve.
I move that we open and approve Report 55106, approval of pupil transportation contract.
Support.
Okay. Any other concerns? Call for the vote?
I do have a concern, but I'm still ready to vote. Just the concern about the mitigation plan for the data that may be inaccurate, and we're planning to it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I'll do a roll call for this one. Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Hicks.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Rice.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're now at information items. These items do not require board action. A, baseball field repair and upgrade, Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology. Mr. Lopez has more information.
So sure, this is actually, the board has actually seen the part where we're revamping the field, grading the field. The other piece is actually a redoing of the exterior fence that is actually exterior and on the corner of Losser and 10 Mile is in need of repair. And so this is actually, we received bids from vendors regarding those two items, and they're put together in this board action item for information for completion, not this summer, but over the fall semester, so that we have time to do it right, and also so that we don't have people traipsing on our field and using the field after we do it in the spring.
What's the date, 13th?
Question.
A question?
Is this this is a different fence than, because I remember a May 19th date
Yeah.
where we said a fence was being,
So it is. So those are protective fences that are behind the dugout, behind the home plate, and in the dugouts. That fencing was done, and it was less than $5,000, and so that was not a board action item for that. But the fencing that actually is exterior to the field with a protective top covering is about $20,000 because it is of certain length and of certain quality to make sure that we are protecting the outfielders as they're pursuing balls, as well as making sure that it looks nice aesthetically.
this also includes the dirt?
Yes,
When we
it
say the
includes all
turf?
of that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. B is graphic design computer purchase. Mr. Lopez, you have the information on that?
Yeah, so there, we actually put into the curriculum for next year, into the master schedule, a graphic design course that we hope will get CTE approval, because the teacher who is in it right now is an art teacher who actually is taking coursework around graphic design, and is a really gifted teacher. But when we went out to Anchor Bay, we saw that graphic design was actually CTE authorized, and so we could receive monies for it. So these are purchase of Mac computers, iMacs, to do it at the industry standard, so that we can actually begin to give kids career-ready skills in it as they explore it. And so this is really sort of the tool that you would have for graphic design other than a textbook for students. And right now there are 2 sections in the master schedule for the coming year.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, bill summary number 814. It is there for your reading leisure. We pay our bills on time. Board matters is next. I don't have any more blue cards, so we can move on. I have a motion to go into closed session to discuss legal matters.
Are we skipping board matters?
Again, request a motion to go into closed session to discuss legal matters.
I move that we go into closed session to discuss legal matters.
Support.
Trustee Rice?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Hicks?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes. Thank you for coming. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. So much.